Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, good evening, Kola. Good evening. Am I visible and audible? Am I visible and audible? Hello? Panyala, good evening. Yeah, thank you, Kola. Let some more people join in and then I'll continue. Then I'll begin. Gaurav, Kennedy, good evening, Panyala. Let some more people join and then I'll begin. So let's talk about the Vijayanagara Empire, Vijayanagara and Bahamani kingdoms and other regional kingdoms. Um, so we have covered all these topics. We have covered early medieval India. Then we came to Delhi Sultanate. Delhi Sultanate. So we have what are the topics in early medieval India? We have covered Shankaracharya, Arab conquest of Sindh, triangular conflict for Kannauj between the Palas, Pratyaras, Rashtrakutas. Then the age of Rajputs, Ghazni and Ghori. Then Chalukyas of Kalyana. Then Imperial Cholas. Then of course the Hoysalas, Pandyas, Kakatiyas. We have covered all these things. And then we came to Delhi Sultanate. We covered Delhi Sultanate, then we completed Mughal Empire, then Marathas under Shivaji, and what happened after Shivaji to the Maratha kingdom. Then, of course, we completed the Suri dynasty, Suri Empire. So let us come to the last chapter of medieval India, Vijayanagara and other regional kingdoms. So, what do you know about Vijayanagara? What do you know about Vijayanagara? Hello? Am I audible and visible? What do you know about Vijayanagara? Students? Krishnadevaraya, okay, greatest of the Vijayanagar kings, Krishnadevaraya, Kola, okay. It's in Andhra, Satyanarayana. What is in Andhra? Capital Hampi, okay. Ganesh, Hampi deity, Tungabhadra basin, okay. What else? So Kennedy says Tuluva dynasty, okay. Today South India, okay, Gaurav. Temple building, what else? Okay, so foreign travelers, lot of foreign travelers came to Vijayanagara, very good. Nanaya, Tikkanna, okay. First to make Gopurams, really, Nikhil, they were the first to make gopurams. So we'll discuss about that. Then water harvesting, Kalyana Mandapa, defeated Deccan Sultanates. Okay, very good, Gaurav. So quite a lot of you know many things about many aspects of Vijayanagara. So let's talk about it. So here, let's talk about Vijayanagara. Vijayanagara. So Vijayanagara lasted from 1336 to 1648. 1336 to 1648 under four dynasties, under four dynasties, Sangama dynasty, number two, Saluva dynasty, number three, Tuluva dynasty, and number four, Aravidu dynasty. So understand this, I'm giving you the gist of Vijayanagara. Once you understand the gist, it will be very easy to go through the topic because it's mostly factual in nature. Therefore, understand the gist of it. So who was the Delhi Sultan when Vijayanagara was established? All of you know this. Who was the Delhi Sultan when Vijayanagara was established? Hello? Hello? Kennedy Balban says Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Very good, Likhil. Muhammad bin Tughlaq is the answer I was looking for. Yeah. Jia, Ganesh, Nikhil. Very good. So the Delhi Sultan was Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Okay, in short, MBT. So he was a Delhi Sultan. Now, two brothers rebelled against him. So he will come back here. So here Vijayanagara was established in 1336, and it lasted till 1648. We have four dynasties ruling Vijayanagara: Sangama, Saluva, Tuluva, and Arabedu. And in the neighboring area, in the neighborhood of Vijayanagara, another kingdom was established. This is the Bahamani kingdom. Bahamani kingdom. This Bahamani kingdom was established by Hassan Gangu. It was established by Hassan Gangu in 1347. So he established this kingdom in 1347. Hassan Gangu was the founder. And he ruled from Gulbarga. Gulbarga was the capital of Hassan Gangu. Gulbarga in Karnataka, North Karnataka. Right. Now, these Vijayanagara and Bahamani sultans, rulers, fought over three areas. They fought over three areas. What are the three areas they fought over? The Krishna Tungabhadra basin. They fought over the Krishna Tungabhadra basin. So that is Krishna Tungabhadra basin. That is the Raichur Doab. Raichur Doab. How does these Deccan sultanates establish themselves even in Hindu majority lands? Gaurav, those days, you see, I told you, Muhammad bin Tughlaq conquered South India. He conquered the Pandyas of Madurai, the Kakatiyas of Varangal. So the Delhi Sultanate expanded beyond the Vindhyas. So towards the end of his reign, there were a number of revolts. Okay, so they were all part of the Tughlaq Empire. And one officer called Hassan Gangu, he rebelled against Muhammad bin Tughlaq and established the Bahamani kingdom with Gulbarga as capital. Right, and then similarly we have Sayyid Hasan Shah of Mabar, who established the Madurai Sultanate. So he was also a Muslim. Right, so here they were all part of the Tughlaq Empire. So we'll come back here. So here, number one is they fought over these three areas: Krishna Tungabhadra Basin or the Raichur Doab. Number two, the Krishna Godavari Delta. Krishna Godavari Delta. And number three, the Konkan coast. What is called Marathwada. So not Konkan coast. That should be enough. Konkan, they fought over the Konkan coast. So they fought over these three areas: Krishna Tungabhadra Basin, Krishna Godavari Delta, and the Konkan coast. Okay. Now, who are the important kings of the Sangama dynasty? So we have, of course, Harihara the First, Bukka the First, Devaraya the First, and Devaraya the Second. So these are the important kings of the Sangama dynasty. Harihara the First, Bukka the First, Devaraya the First, and Devaraya the Second. Saluva Narasimha established the Saluva dynasty. Nothing much about the Saluvas. They ruled for a brief period of time. So Saluva Narasimha was their founder. Saluva Narasimha. Then the greatest of the Vijayanagar kings was Krishna Devaraya. As you all know, the greatest of the Vijayanagar kings was Krishna Devaraya. Krishna Devaraya. He belonged to the Tuluva dynasty. Okay. He belonged to the Tuluva dynasty. Now look here. We'll come back here. Now, this Bahmani kingdom was founded by Hassan Gangu. Hassan Gangu takes the title of Abdul Muzaffar Alauddin Bahman Shah. Abdul Muzaffar Alauddin Bahman Shah. And he established the Bahmani kingdom with Gulbarga as capital. And this Bahmani kingdom had many great rulers. Like, for example, Tajuddin Firuz Bahmani, Tajuddin Firuz Bahmani, then Ahmad Shah Wali, Muhammad Shah III, etc. So they rapidly expanded the Bahmani kingdom. So understand this. There was one Bahmani ruler. So there was one Bahmani ruler. So Bahamanis fought against Vijayanagara over these three areas. We have seen this: Krishna Tungabhadra Basin, Krishna Godavari Delta, and Konkan Coast. So there was one Bahamani ruler called Muhammad Shah III. Muhammad Shah III. And this Muhammad Shah III had a minister under him. His name was Mahmud Gawan. Mahmud Gawan. And this, no, he was not a converted Hindu, Gaurav. He was supposedly working under a Brahmin. So the name Bahamani is from there, according to some sources. He was not a convert, definitely. His name was Hassan Gangu, and he was working under, supposedly working under a Brahmin who took care of him very well, and has great regard for him. He is supposed to have named his kingdom after that Brahmana, called it as Bahamani kingdom. But then Hassan Gangu took a title, Abdul Muzaffar Alauddin Bahman Shah, and the name Bahamani is from there, according to some other sources. So we'll come back here, understand this. So there was a king called Muhammad Shah III, and he had a minister called Mahmud Gawan. He was a foreigner. So that is, he was an Afaki. Afaki means foreigner. So he had come from somewhere in West Asia. And this Mahmud Gawan was a very loyal minister. He was made the Wakil. He was made the Wakil. Wakil means prime minister. He was made the Wakil by Muhammad Shah. And Mahmud Gawan rapidly expanded the Bahmani kingdom. He expanded the Bahmani kingdom. He served Sultan Muhammad Shah III loyally for 20 years. And he conquered the Raichudub, the Krishna Godavari Delta. So he expanded the empire. And the local Muslims, the Deccani Muslims, very, very jealous of him. Understand this? Local Muslims, Deccani Muslims, in the court of Muhammad Shah, were very, very jealous of this Mahmud Gawan. Look at this fellow. He's a foreigner. He's come from somewhere else, and he is bossing over us, right? And they were trying to conspire against him. The Deccani Muslims were conspiring against Mahmud Gawan. So they would carry tales against him to the Sultan. And, they were all unfounded allegations. And the Sultan, mostly, rejected those allegations. But then one day what happened is, Muhammad Shah was fully drunk. Sultan Muhammad Shah the third was fully drunk. And these Deccani Muslim nobles, they forged a letter. They wrote a letter, as if written by Mahmud Gawan, inviting the king of Orissa to attack the Bahmani kingdom. And if the king of Orissa, so Orissa was ruled by the Gajapati dynasty. So if the king of Orissa attacks the Bahmani kingdom, Mahmud Gawan is going to support the Orissa ruler. That's what they wrote the letter, as if written by Balban, inviting the Orissa king to attack the Bahmani kingdom. And they forged his signature, put his seal, and they told the Sultan, Muhammad Shah III, who was fully drunk, that they found this letter being carried by a messenger to the Orissa king, and they intercepted this messenger and they found this letter. So when Sultan Muhammad Shah III read that letter, he understood the contents of that letter. He lost his judgment. He was fully drunk. He lost his judgment, and in that fit of rage, he ordered the immediate execution of Mahmud Gawan. So Mahmud Gawan was immediately killed. He was immediately killed. Now, um, when after some time, when when Muhammad Shah III's alcoholic effect came down, when his nasha, alcoholic effect came down, he realized the mistake he had made. So it was too late now. But the king began to lament. He began to, burn within himself that he had punished an innocent man who had served him loyally for 20 years, and he had ordered his execution. So the king, it was too late for the king to understand this. And he began to lament. And within a very short period of time, Muhammad Shah III died, right? Muhammad Shah III died. And this sounded the death knell of the Bahmani kingdom. The Bahmani kingdom, which was very huge until then, split up into 5 states. It broke up into 5 states. So what are the 5 states it broke up into? So we have the Adil Shahis of Bijapur, the Adil Shahis who ruled from Bijapur. So Bahmani kingdom, which was one huge empire, broke up into 5 parts. The Adil Shahis of Bijapur, the Qutub Shahis of Golconda, the Qutub Shahis, then Ahmednagar, ruled by the Nizam Shahis, then Bidar, ruled by the Barid Shahis, and number 5, Birar, by the Imad Shahis. So, one became 5. One became 5. Right? That is one huge Bahmani empire broke up into 5 parts. And these splinter states, among these splinter states, the most powerful was Bijapur, the Adil Shahis of Bijapur. So, these Bahmani kingdoms also fought against Vijayanagara. Among these 5, Bijapur was the most powerful. These splinter states also fought against Vijayanagara. Okay, and this split, understand this Bahmani empire breaking up into 5 parts happened just before Krishnadevaraya came to power in Vijayanagara. So he belonged to the Tuluva dynasty. So by the time Krishnadevaraya came to power in Vijayanagara, just before that, this Bahmani empire had split up into 5 splinter states. Okay, are you clear till here, all of you? Are you clear till here? Can you raise your hands? All clear till here? Ganesh, okay. Ganesh says yes. Satyanarayana, okay. Now look here. Now, so the greatest of the Vijayanagar kings was Krishnadevaraya, who belonged to the Tuluva dynasty, as you can see here. He belonged to the Tuluva dynasty. Now, we'll have to specifically talk about Krishnadevaraya, great warrior, man of letters. He patronized scholars. His period is called the classical phase of Telugu literature. For that reason, he's called Andhra Pitamaha. Then he's also called Abhinava Bhoja for his patronage to literature. Kannada Rama Ramana, Yavanaraja Sthapanacharya. So he's known by different titles. We'll talk about it. He was a great warrior, a man of letters, patronized art, architecture, etc. Now, what happened after the death of Krishnadevaraya? Understand this. What happened after the death of Krishnadevaraya? Now, I'll use another page because I don't have space there. So, Krishnadevaraya, I'll write KD Raya in short. KD Raya. So, Krishnadevaraya died so he ruled from 1509 to 1529. 1509 to 1529. Krishnadevaraya had a daughter. Understand this. He had a daughter. Her name was Tirumalamba. Tirumalamba. And this Tirumalamba was given in marriage to a man called Ramaraya. So in Kannada language, he's called Aliya Ramaraya. Aliya means son-in-law in Kannada language. So he was called Aliya Ramaraya, the son-in-law of Krishnadevaraya. So Tirumalamba, the daughter of Krishnadevaraya, had been married to Aliya Ramaraya. Now, what happened after the death of Krishnadevaraya? Once Krishnadevaraya died, we have his half-brother Achyutaraya. So Achyutaraya became the king. Achyutaraya. When Achyutaraya was the king, and Achyutaraya was succeeded by his nephew Sadashivaraya. So Achyutaraya was succeeded by his nephew Sadashivaraya. And by the time Sadashivaraya became the king of Vijayanagara, the power behind the throne was this Aliya Ramaraya. He was an old man of 90 years. Aliya Ramaraya was about 90 plus years old now. 90 plus year old man. By the time Sadashivaraya became the king. And this man, Aliya Ramaraya, has been blamed for the destruction of Vijayanagara by historians. So Aliya Ramaraya has been blamed for the destruction of Vijayanagara. What did this man do? This son-in-law of Krishnadevaraya do? Okay, I'll write silly here. He was the son-in-law of Krishnadevaraya, right? So he will play one Bahmani Sultan against another. You can see here on your screen. So you have 5 Bahmani Sultans: Bijapur, Golconda, Ahmednagar, Bidar, Birar. So he will play one Bahmani Sultan against another. Right? For example, so I'll write here. So Bijapur, Golconda, Ahmednagar, Bidar, and Birar. For example, he will support Bijapur and get Golconda defeated. Next, he'll align with Ahmednagar and get Bidar defeated. So he would support one Bahmani Sultan against another and keep them busy fighting against each other. And he would be supporting one against the other. Now, what was the calculation of this Aliya Ramaraya? He wanted Vijayanagara to be the most powerful in that area. In South India, he wanted Vijayanagara to be the most powerful, number one. And number two, his power behind the throne intact. He was the power behind the throne of Sadashivaraya. So he was, he wanted his power behind the throne intact and also Vijayanagara to be the most powerful in that area. So he would play one Bahmani Sultans against another. Now, it so happened that this Ahmednagar Sultan, this, this Ahmednagar Sultan had 2 daughters. Okay, one was given in marriage to the Bijapur Sultan. One was given in marriage to the Bijapur Sultan, and other daughter was given in marriage to the Golconda Sultan. So from friends, they became relations. So they became thickly connected with each other through marriage, alliance. And everything was discussed openly amongst the family members. And they came to realize that till now they're fighting, whatever misunderstanding existed amongst them was because of this old hag, old man, Aliya Ramaraya. So what happened is, now Aliya Ramaraya could not play the game of divide and rule. He could not play the game of divide and rule. So they had understood his mind, these Bahmani Sultans. So what happened is, out of the 5, 4 joined together, minus Birar. So Birar was not invited. Minus Birar, Bijapur, Golconda, Ahmednagar, Bidar. They combined their armies. And they combinedly attacked Vijayanagara. So this happened when Sadashivaraya was the king. And this is the famous battle of Talikota, 1565. The famous battle of Talikota. So it happened actually between 2 villages, Rakkasagi and Tangadagi. Rakkasagi and Tangadagi, on the banks of the Krishna River. But then Talikota was only a staging point. All the Bahmani armies congregated at Talikota. And then they moved towards the battlefield between 2 villages, Rakkasagi and Tangadagi. So, however, it is called the Battle of Talikota. Now, Vijayanagara, understand this, Vijayanagara at its peak had an army of 7 lakhs. When Krishnadevaraya was the king of Vijayanagara, his army strength was 7 lakhs. Now, even if we take a modest strength of, let us say, 4 lakh armies per Bahmani Sultan. So, Bijapur, let us say, 4 lakh army, Golconda, 4 lakh, Ahmednagar, 4 lakh, or Bidar, even if you take 3 lakh each, 3, 3, 3, 3, 12. So, 4 into 3 is 12. So 7, imagine 7 lakhs versus 12 to 14 lakh army of the 4 Bahmani Sultans. So, Vijayanagara was outnumbered. So the battle began, right? And in this battle, Vijayanagara was losing because they were outnumbered. Ramaraya was beheaded. So he was beheaded by the Ahmednagar Sultan. So the Nizam Shah of Ahmednagar beheaded him, right? And then the Sadashivaraya, the Vijayanagar king, came running back to the battlefield. He came running back to Hampe from the battlefield. So he came running back along with 2 brothers of Ramaraya. Ramaraya had 2 brothers, Tirumala and Venkata. Tirumala and Venkata. So Sadashivaraya along with two brothers of Ramaraya, they came running back from the battlefield of Talikota. They went to the treasury, whatever gold, diamond, treasures, whatever treasures they could, collect. They collected all those treasures. They dumped it on fast-moving chariots, wagons, and they decamped from there. They ran away from Hampe, right? They ran away from Hampe, and they came to a place called Penukonda. So Penukonda is now in the Anantapur district of Andhra. Anantapur district of Andhra Pradesh. So they came to Penukonda. And there, this Sadashivaraya ruled for some time. Sadashivaraya ruled for some time, till about 1570 or so. When he died, this Tirumala proclaimed himself independent and established the fourth dynasty known as the Aravidu dynasty. The fourth dynasty functioned from Penukonda. Later, Chandragiri and Vellore. So later Chandragiri and Vellore became their capital. So initially ruled from Penukonda, later Chandragiri and Vellore in Tamil Nadu. Now what happened so here please understand, the peak of Vijayanagara was only till 1565, till the Battle of Talikota. So it was flourishing till 1565. Though what happened in the Talikota war, Vijayanagara was defeated. And the Bahmani Sultans entered the city of Vijayanagara. They entered the city of Hampe, the capital of Vijayanagara. And they gave license to their soldiers. They told their soldiers, whatever you touch is yours. Whatever you lay your hands on is yours, except elephants. So we are told that this destruction of Vijayanagara went on for about 4.5 months continuously. With hammers, crowbars, sickles. They razed the city of Victory to its ground. And they looted and plundered Vijayanagara. So now in Kannada, it is called Halu Hampe, the city of ruins. Halu Hampe. Now, please understand, are you clear till here? All of you, can you raise your hands? Can you raise your hands? I'll continue. So whatever I'm telling you, you have registered it. Okay, good. Now look here. Once from brother. So, I said, Aliya Ramaraya had two brothers, Dinesh. Brothers issue. Two brothers were this Tirumala and Venkata. They were also fighting on the battlefield. But when they were sure that Vijayanagara is going to be defeated, they came running back from the battlefield along with the king Sadashivaraya, and they ran away with all the wealth they could to Penukonda. Sadashivaraya ruled for some time, and once he died, this Tirumala, the elder of the two of Ramaraya, he proclaimed himself independent and established the Aravidu dynasty, which functioned in Penukonda. Later, Chandragiri and Vellore had its capitals. Yeah. So, Kennedy, you have to focus. Everybody have understood, only you have not understood. What is the confusion? What is the confusion about Kennedy? Yeah, clear na? Okay. Now, we'll come back here. So here, please understand, nobody knew about Vijayanagara till 1900. Nobody knew about Vijayanagara till 1900. That is, we are in 2024, about 124 years back, right? About 124 years back, nobody knew about Vijayanagara. Then in 1900, we have a book which was published. This is called A Forgotten Empire. A Forgotten Empire. And this was written by Robert Sewell, author called Robert Sewell. He writes a book called The Forgotten Empire. I'm sorry, not A Forgotten Empire, A Forgotten Empire by Robert Sewell. Now, when Vijayanagara was at its peak, when Vijayanagara was flourishing and it was in its peak, a number of foreign travelers had visited Vijayanagara. Like, for example, Ibn Battuta, Domingo Paz, Fernão Nunes, Duarte Eduardo Barbosa, Nikitin, etc. So many foreigners had visited Vijayanagara, and these foreigners had written a number of travelogues. They had written accounts of Vijayanagara in their language, Italian language, Portuguese language, Ibn Battuta in Arabic language, etc. So Robert Sewell collected the travelogues of two travelers to Vijayanagara. One was Domingo Paz, and the other was Fernão Nunes. So he collected the travelogues of Domingo Paz and Fernão Nunes, whatever they had written about Vijayanagara, and he translated them into English. And he wrote a book called the Forgotten Empire. And once people read this book, the memory of Vijayanagara was restored. People understood or remembered Vijayanagara. Until then, it was literally a forgotten empire, right? So this is a story of Vijayanagara. So we have a lot of information about Vijayanagara from the foreign travelers who came visiting. We have a number of temples which even now exist in Hampe, in many parts of Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Karnataka. These are all built by the Vijayanagara kings, Lepakshi, Tadipatri, Kanchipuram, Hampe, etc. Then we have coins which were issued by Vijayanagara kings, numismatics, gold coins, silver coins, copper coins. They also give us a lot of information about Vijayanagara, and inscriptions are there, a number of inscriptions which also give information about Vijayanagara, right? So we have a huge corpus of information. This is the gist of Vijayanagara. Once you understand this gist, it becomes very easy. The rest all is factual information. So Krishnadevaraya was the greatest of the Vijayanagara kings. Krishnadevaraya was the greatest of the Vijayanagara kings, and after him, we have the Aravidu dynasty. So the peak of Vijayanagara was only till 1565. In the Talikota War, it was defeated. Okay, are you there with me? Yeah, I told you it was flourishing. It was flourishing till 1565, but then the dynasty lingered on from Penukonda. It lingered on under the Aravidu kings from Penukonda, Chandragiri, and Vellore till 1648. But the peak of Vijayanagara was only till 1565. The city of Victory was razed. It was destroyed. It was plundered and looted. It was plundered and looted. Okay, Gaurav, right? Yes. Okay, so this is about Vijayanagara. So we'll come back here. So you can see on your screen Vijayanagara Empire, 1336 to 1648. They were Vishnu worshippers. You can see a boar here, a boar. So they were Vishnu worshippers, Varaha. So this is Varaha in the boar incarnation of Vishnu. Varaha. So we'll come back here. So I've given you an introduction. Origin as regards the various theories regarding the origin of Vijayanagara. We'll talk about it. The Telugu origin theory, the Kannada origin theory, right? Sources for the study of Vijayanagara, right? And we'll talk about it. Then dynasties, the four dynasties which ruled Vijayanagara, and political history. So this is Robert Sewell on your screen. Robert Sewell on your screen. So here he writes a book called A Forgotten Empire in 1900, which brought Vijayanagara into focus. And these were the English translation of Portuguese travelogues of Domingo Paz and Fernão Nunes. So it was founded on the banks of the river Tungabhadra, a tributary of the river Krishna, by two brothers, Harihara and Bukka. So Hampi was their capital. It is in the Bellary district of Karnataka, right? So Vijayanagara and Bahamani fought over three areas. These are the three areas: the Tungabhadra Doab or the Raichur Doab, that is between the Krishna and Tungabhadra rivers, Krishna Godavari Delta, and the Marathwada or Konkan coast. I think RS, I know who you are, but I think, yeah, he has left. So Tungabhadra Doab, Krishna Godavari Delta, and the Konkan coast, right? These are the three areas over which the Vijayanagara kings fought against the Bahamanis. So Hampe, you can see on your screen. This was the capital of Vijayanagara, right? Now, this green is is the kingdom of Vijayanagara, this area. So they ruled over major parts of Karnataka, present-day Karnataka, Andhra, parts of Tamil Nadu, Vijayanagara kings. So this is shown in green here, and then of course the Bahamani sultans ruled this area, pink. So Vijayanagara Bahamani conflict was begun by Bukka in 1367, one of the younger of the brothers. So we have a battle which was fought at Mudkal. So it was a war state. So it was expanding at the cost of its neighbors. The greatest of the Vijayanagar kings was, of course, Krishnadevaraya, who belonged to the Tuluva dynasty. And I told you, in the Talikota war, Vijayanagara was defeated by the Bahamani sultans and the city was destroyed. So later, we have the Arabidu dynasty, which ruled from Penukonda, Chandragiri, and Vellore as its capitals. So in 1800, we have this British officer of the East India Company, Colonel Colin Mackenzie. He was the one who prepared the first survey map of the ruins. He was the one who surveyed the ruins of Hampe, and he made a map of it, map of that. So we have the Telugu origin theory and the Kannada origin theory as regards the origin of Vijayanagara. I have told you about the Telugu origin theory. Again, I'll repeat it. Are you clear, all of you? Can you raise your hands? All clear till here? You remember the Telugu origin theory? When I did Muhammad bin Tughlaq, I had spoken about the Telugu origin theory of Vijayanagara. I'll again repeat it, but I hope some of you remember about it. Yeah? Great. I hope you are finding medieval India interesting. I know it is vast. I do acknowledge that it is vast, but I hope you're finding it interesting and you're able to answer all the questions asked by the UPSC. Most of the questions you're able to answer. Yeah, can you raise your hands? Do you acknowledge that? Are you finding it easy, interesting? I know it is. There's a lot of information. I'm telling you a lot of things, but then I'm trying to put it in the form of a story. So then I think you're finding it interesting. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay, we'll come back here. So let us talk about the Telugu origin theory and the Kannada origin theory of the origin of Vijayanagara. So first of all, we'll talk about the Telugu origin theory. So I told you, what is this Telugu origin theory of Vijayanagara? Telugu origin theory. Though historians don't believe in this theory, they say it is fantastic story, but it cannot be true. So they say it's a myth. It cannot be true. So historians don't agree to this story. But anyway, we will discuss this Telugu origin theory. So here, let us say this is Karnataka, those days, right? And there was one area here called Sagar. So Sagar in Gulbarga, present day Gulbarga, Sagar. And there was one officer here ruling. He was supposedly the cousin of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. His name was Bahauddin Gurshab. Bahauddin Gurshab. He was a cousin of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Then we have the Kakatiya kingdom. This is the Kakatiya kingdom. This is the Kakatiya kingdom. Kakatiyas. But in 1323, we have seen this. Muhammad bin Tughlaq conquered the Kakatiyas. So MBT, Muhammad bin Tughlaq conquered it. And I believe there were two brothers working here in the Kakatiya kingdom. That is Harihara and Bukka. Two brothers who were working here, Harihara and Bukka. They were working here. And there was another kingdom in the region of Karnataka that is called Kampili. So there was a small kingdom called Kampili. And these two brothers, Harihara and Bukka, came to Kampili and sought employment under the Kampili king. They asked him to give them jobs because they had lost their job with the Kakatiya ruler. So these two brothers were appointed as the governors of Anegundi. So they had been appointed as the governors of a place called Anegundi. So they were serving as governors of Anegundi. Now, Muhammad bin Tughlaq was the Delhi Sultan. So Muhammad bin Tughlaq was the Delhi Sultan. and this cousin of his, Bahauddin Gurshap, rebelled against him. So Bahauddin Gurshap rebelled against him. As a result, this Muhammad bin Tughlaq attacked Bahauddin Gurshap, defeated Bahauddin Gurshap, and conquered Sagar. So Bahauddin Gurshap came running to Kampili. So he came running to Kampili and sought the shelter of the Kampili king. And the Kampili king, the Raya of Kampili, the king of Kampili, gave him shelter. Thereupon, Muhammad bin Tughlaq got angry with this and he attacked Kampili. He attacked Kampili because the Kampili king had given him shelter, given his cousin shelter. These two brothers, Haryana and Bukka, also went to Kampili. They went to from Anegundi, they went to Kampili to fight against Muhammad bin Tughlaq on behalf of their king, the Kampili Raya, the king of Kampili. But in this war, Kampili king was killed by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Bahauddin Gurshap was also killed, and these two brothers, Haryana and Bukka, were taken captive. So they were made into prisoners of war. They were made into POWs. They were taken to Delhi, forcibly converted to Islam, and they were reposted in the south. They were reposted in the south to control rebellion. So Haryana and Bukka were here. I'll write HB here. So when they were in the south, I believe they came under they came into touch with the head of the Shankaracharya Mutt. So there was a mutt in Sringeri. Sringeri is a place in Karnataka. Sringeri. This is the original mutt established by Adi Shankaracharya. So the head of the mutt was Vidyaranya. Vidyaranya was the head of this mutt, the Sringeri mutt. So he saw these two boys, Haryana and Bukka, and he saw a lot of promise. He saw a lot of promise in these two brothers. He reconverted them to Hinduism, into the Hindu fold, and inspired them to found a kingdom in the south, which will give protection to the people of the south from the armies of the north. And that was the reason why these two brothers established Vijayanagara. This is Telugu origin theory. Are you there with me? So these two brothers went on to found a kingdom in the south, which was renamed initially. It was named initially as Vidyanagara. So it was initially named Vidyanagara after the saint Vidyaranya. Then it was named Virupakshanagara. Virupakshanagara. Virupaksha was their family god, a form of Shiva. Virupaksha is a form of Shiva. So Virupaksha was the family god. So it was called Virupakshanagara. And later it was renamed Vijayanagara. Right. So this is the Telugu origin theory. Did you get me that? This is the Telugu origin theory. Again, repeat. Bahauddin Gurshap, the cousin of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, who was the governor of Sagar, rebelled against Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So Muhammad bin Tughlaq attacked him, defeated him. So Bahauddin Gurshap came to the Kampili king and took shelter there. Then earlier, these two brothers, Haryana and Bukka, after the conquest of the Kakatiyas by Muhammad bin Tughlaq, had already sought shelter under the Kampili king. And the Kampili king had appointed them as the governors of Anegundi. So when Bahauddin Gurshap was given protection by Kampili king, Muhammad bin Tughlaq attacked Kampili. These two brothers, Haryana and Bukka, also went to assist their king in this war against Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Kampili king lost his life. Bahauddin Gurshap also was killed. Two brothers, Haryana and Bukka, were taken captive to Delhi, forcibly converted to Islam, posted in the south to control rebellion. But then Vidyaranya, the head of the Sringeri Mutt, reconverted themselves, both these brothers, into Hindu religion and inspired them to found a kingdom in the south to give protection to the people of the south from the invading armies of the north. Okay. So initially called Vidyanagara, the city, later Virupakshanagara and Vijayanagara. Got it? Now, historians say that this is utter nonsense. Historians say this is utter nonsense. There is no truth in this. In fact, we have Isami. You can see here on your screen. We have the Telugu origin theory. If you read that, you'll understand Telugu origin theory. So Haryana and Bukka were serving in the kingdom of the Kakatiya ruler of Warangal, Prataparudra. Muhammad bin Tughlaq conquered Kakatiyas in 1322-23. Brothers transferred their loyalties to the Raj of Kampili, were posted as governors of Anegundi. When Kampili king gave shelter to Bahauddin Gurshap, it resulted in the conquest of Kampili by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. According to Isami's Futuwas Selatin, both the brothers were taken captives, brought to Delhi as POWs, prisoners of war, forcibly converted to Islam, and later sent to the south to control rebellion. Okay, but on the instance of Vidyaranya, they were reconverted to Hindu fold and inspired to found a kingdom. Right? So Isami's Futuh Salatin also reiterates this, but historians don't agree to this theory. Clear? Are you there with me? Now, there's another quaint story regarding the spot where Vidyaranya chose, which Vidyaranya chose to build a capital. And I believe Vidyaranya saw something which was very rare in nature, which is very quaint in nature. It cannot happen in nature, but sometimes it does happen. Quaint things happen in nature. So there was a hare. Hare is a big rabbit, a rabbit with bigger ears, larger ears. So a hare was being chased by a wolf, and the hare was running for its life, being chased by the wolf closely. But at one spot, the hare was bold enough to turn around, and it opposed the wolf. It was able to repel the attack of the wolf. So, looking at that, uh, Vidyaranya felt that it is the importance of that place, the importance of that place, which gave so much of valor to the wolf, to the hare, that it was able to turn around and uh, be daring enough to oppose the wolf, a much more stronger animal. So he chose that spot and asked the brothers to, found a capital, build a capital at that spot. And then came Hampe. So that became Hampe, the capital of Vijayanagara, right? So this is the Telugu origin theory. Then what does the Kannada origin theory say? Kannada origin theory, which is accepted by most of the historians, they say that these two brothers were serving in the Hoysala kingdom. They were serving in the court of the Hoysalas, and that is the time when they founded Vijayanagara. This is the most acceptable theory according to historians. Okay, the Kannada origin theory. Then we move on. We have a number of sources for the study of Vijayanagara, literary sources, indigenous works, foreign writers and travelers, inscriptions, coins, temples. So let us look at the sources, literary sources. Hoysalas, we have discussed Hoysalas, Kennedy. Kennedy, revise your lessons. We have discussed Hoysalas, isn't it? Belur, Halebid, Somnathpura. We have discussed all those things. Hoysala Vishnuvardhana. I've told you the story, okay, of Mohini, Basmaso story, Belur, Halebid. Remember, yeah, you revise your lessons, Kennedy. We'll come back here. Literary sources. Let us talk about the literary sources. So these are all books written in Kannada language. So they serve as, so we have Kannada literature, Telugu literature, Sanskrit literature. These three languages flourished under the Vijayanagar kings. So let us look at the indigenous works, indigenous books. So Sayana, you can see here on your screen, Sayana. So what are the books written by Sayana? Yagna Tantra Sudhanidhi. Yagna Tantra Sudhanidhi. Yagna Tantra Sudhanidhi. Sudhanidhi. Prayashchita Sudhanidhi. Prayashchita Sudhanidhi. Then Purushartha Sudhanidhi. Ayurveda Sudhanidhi. Vedartha Prakasha. So these are all in Kannada language. They serve as important source for the study of Vijayanagara, Kannada language. Then Vidyaranya. Vidyaranya wrote these books. Parasara Madhaviya, Parasara Madhaviya, Shankara Vijaya, Rajakala Nirnaya. So people who are from the northeast or who are having Hindi medium, other than any South Indian language, people from South India will have not much difficulty in reading these words because somewhere they rhyme with the local languages of the Dravidian languages. But people who are from the northern belt or northeast belt, they might have difficulty. So what I would suggest is divide the words into two or three parts. Like for example, Kannadi is from the northeast, if I understand. So Kannadi might find it difficult. Yeah, Kennedy. So what you do is you divide the words into two or three parts, and then you try to remember them. Yagna Tantra Sudhaniti, Prayashchita Sudhaniti, etc. Right? Then Rajanatha Dindima. Rajanatha Dindima. So he wrote Achyutaraya Abhyudayam. Achyutaraya Abhyudayam. Right? Then Ganga Devi. She wrote Madhura Vijayam or Veera Kampanaraya Charitam. Veera Kampanaraya Charitam. Tirumalamba. Tirumalamba. It's not Tirumalamba, it's Tirumalamba. So she wrote Varadambika Parinayam. Varadambika Parinayam. See, in the UPSC mains, about a few years back, they asked about how development of literature during the Vijayanagar period, how Krishnadevaraya was a patron of letters and literature, and then what are the various literary activities which took place during his reign? How did he patronize literature? So to answer that question, it's factual in nature because so many books were written during the time of Krishnadevaraya in Telugu language, in Kannada language. So to answer that question, you require to remember these words, these books and their authors, because it was a 250 word answer. Just a few years back they asked. It's part of the literature topic of art and culture. So they can ask you questions like that. So therefore be prepared. Then we have some more books. Ratnakara Varni. He wrote Bharatesha Vaibhava, Chamarasa, Prabhulinga Leele, Kumaravayasa, or Gadagina Naranappa. So he wrote the Kannada Mahabharata. It was incomplete. He could not complete it. Therefore, on the orders of Krishnadevaraya, Timmanna completed it. A person called Timmanna completed the Kannada Mahabharata. Right? Then Lakshmisha. Yeah, this is also in Kannada. This is also in Kannada language. So these are all in Kannada language. Lakshmisha wrote Jaimini Bharata. Kanakadasa, Mohana Tarangini, Nalacharita, Hari Bhaktisara, Ramadhanya Charite. So Kanakadasa was a contemporary of the Vijayanagar kings, particularly Krishnadevaraya. He lived in that period of Krishnadevaraya, Kanakadasa. So Mohana Tarangini, Nalacharita, Hari Bhaktisara, Ramadhanya Charite. So these are the indigenous books or indigenous works for the study of Vijayanagara. Then we come to foreign travelers or writers, travelers. We'll look at it. This is another area from where questions can come. So what I've done is I put a chart for your convenience. On your screen, you can see Ibn Battuta. So he was the first foreign traveler to come to India. Remember Ibn Battuta? He came to the court of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, Ibn Battuta, and Ibn Battuta was appointed as Qazi of Delhi. And then he put him in prison for 10 years. Muhammad bin Tughlaq got him arrested and put him in prison for no reason. And then later, after 10 years, he released him from prison and asked him to go to China as his ambassador. So to go to China, Ibn Battuta came to South India. He wanted to go via the sea route. Via Sri Lanka, he went to Indonesia, Malaysia, and then go to China. So while coming down south, he visited Vijayanagara. Ibn Battuta, so he was from Morocco, Tangiers in Morocco. And he came to Vijayanagara during the period of Harihara the First. Harihara the First was the king of Vijayanagara. He was the first foreigner to visit Vijayanagara. Okay, then we come to the second traveler, Niccolo di Conte. Niccolo di Conte, he was from Italy. And he writes a book, Travels of Niccolo Conte. He came during the time of Devaraya the First. Now let us look at the information given by Niccolo di Conte. So he talks about Vijayanagar city. He says it had a circumference of 90 kilometers. 90,000 soldiers guarded the city. King had 12,000 wives. Imagine this. King had 12,000 wives, and of them, 2,000 to 3,000 performed sati if the king died. So king had 12,000 wives, and of them, 2,000 to 3,000 committed sati when the king died. Then Niccolo Conte talks about the Diwali and Navaratri festivals. Dasara, what we call Dasara, in Karnataka, Navaratri is also called Dasara. So he talks about Dasara or Navaratri festival. People celebrated these festivals with pomp and grandeur, he says. So Niccolo di Conte, right? He came during the time of Devaraya the First. He was from Italy. Then Abdur Razak. Abdur Razak, he was an ambassador of Shah Rukh of Samarkand. He came to the court of the Zamorin of Calicut. So Calicut in Kerala. So he came to the Zamorin's court, the Hindu ruler of Calicut. Abdur Razak came there. So he was from Persia or Iran, and he came during the time of Devaraya II. So he came during the time of Devaraya II. So he talks about Vijayanagar city. He says it was such a beautiful city. The eyes have not seen such a city, nor the ears have heard about such a city. So such a beautiful city. City has 7 fortified walls, he says, one within the other. and it has 7 bazaars. Merchants sell rubies, diamonds, emeralds, pearls as groceries, like tomatoes and onions. Rubies, diamonds, emerald, pearls were sold. Taxes collected from prostitutes went on to pay the salaries of policemen, he says. So, prostitution was a recognized institution in Vijayanagara. So, prostitutes had to pay taxes to the government to ply their trade, to follow their trade. And the salaries of Vijayanagara, the salaries of the policemen of Vijayanagara were paid out of the taxes collected from these prostitutes. This information is given by Abdul Razak. Then he says polyandry was prevalent in the Malabar region. Polyandry, right? And then he says people have a lot of value for roses. So trade was organized into guilds, and people could not live without roses. Okay, people love roses, he says. So that's the information given by Abdul Razak. He came to the time of Devaraya II. Then Athanasius Nikitin. So he was a horse merchant from Russia. Athanasius Nikitin. He came during the rule of Virupaksha II. It talks about the economic disparities, extreme economic disparities between the rich and the poor. Then Duarte Eduardo Barbosa. He was from Portugal. Duarte Eduardo Barbosa from Portugal. He came during the reign of Krishnadevaraya. So it talks about the social evils such as sati, polygamy, devadasi, taboo on widow remarriages. Then he refers to wars with the Deccan sultans in Orissa. When the king dies, 400 to 500 women burn themselves with him, he says. Duarte Eduardo Barbosa. So he came during the time of Krishnadevaraya. Then Ludovico da Vortema. Ludovico da Vortema. He was from Italy. He again came during the time of Krishnadevaraya. Then Domingo Paz from Portugal. So he came during the time of Krishnadevaraya. He described the physical personality of Krishnadevaraya. So Domingo Paz tells us that Krishnadevaraya was not very tall. He was of medium build. He was on the darker side. In his complexion, he was on the darker side. He had pockmarks on his face, and he was known to sudden fits of rage. And he was a great warrior, he says, Domingo Paz. So Domingo Paz tells us about the schedule of Krishnadevaraya. I believe he used to get up early in the morning. The king would get up early in the morning, and the masseur will massage him. The masseur will massage his body, and then he will exercise. The king will exercise for hours together. He'll wrestle, he will do sword fighting, etc. And then he'll go on his horse ride, and then he'll come back. And then he'll have a nice shower, he'll have a bath, and then he'll have his breakfast, and then he'll conduct the court. So all these details are given by Domingo Paz, and he says king had 12 wives who lived in luxury but were denied freedom. So 3 people came during the time of Krishnadevaraya: Duarte Eduardo Barbosa, Ludovico da Vortema, and Domingo Paz. So remember them. Then Fernão Nunes. He was from Portugal. He came during the time of Achyuta Devaraya. Talks about the food habits of the people. Lingaites and Telagas, that is, oil presses. Telagas are oil presses. So they observed sati, he says, and they used to also bury the widows alive along with their dead deceased husbands. So they observed sati by burying the widow alive along with the dead husband. My God, that must be very, very ghastly. Then he says women were experts in all these fields. Wrestling, women were wrestlers, astrologers, accountants, soothsaying, predicting the future. So he wrote the history of the kingdom from its foundation to the rule of Achyuta Devaraya. Who? This Fernão Nunes. So, yeah, so these are all the accounts given by foreigners. Are you there with me, all of you? So we have a huge source of information for the study of Vijayanagara given by all these foreigners. Then we have the inscriptions. Both copper plate inscriptions are there and stone inscriptions are there. Copper plate inscriptions are in these languages: Kannada, Telugu, Tamil. They are in these languages. They give us a lot of information about Vijayanagara. And of course, we have the stone inscriptions, again in Tamil, Telugu, and Kannada. So stone inscriptions, copper plate inscriptions also give information about Vijayanagara. We have various other inscriptions on your screen. You can see here. Remember the, if at all you want to remember the king who issued these inscriptions. For example, Bagepalli inscription of Harihara the First. It talks about the origin of Vijayanagara, but that details are not important. Just remember the king and the inscription he issued. So Bagepalli inscription, copper plate inscription of Harihara the First, Bitragrunta grant of Sangama the Second, Chennaraya Patana, Chandrai Patna inscription of Harihara II, etc. No, Srirangam copper plate of Devaraya II, Devalapalli copper plates of Narasimha II, Sorakkavur plates of Virupaksha, Shravanabalagola inscription of Bukka the First, then Kandiyan Tandal inscription found in Tamil Nadu, issued by Veera Narasimha, Hampi inscription of Krishnadevaraya, Amaravati inscription of Krishnadevaraya. So these are the various inscriptions, and they give us a lot of information about Vijayanagara, right? No, Kennedy. So thing is, I have given you these details. They might UPSC in the prelims might or might not ask. Not necessarily in the mains they'll ask you, but in the prelims they might or might not ask. Might not. What is the reference point? Reference point is the previous year questions. What type of questions have been asked by the UPSC? That's the reference point for you. Okay, so we will discuss that. So prelims is vast. You have to gather information from a lot of sources, read widely, because only when you read widely and cover a lot of syllabus, then you'll have a better chance of clearing the prelims, right? Because some questions are spread out. That strategy doesn't apply for the mains. Main strategy is different. Okay, now we'll come back here. Coins. So the Vijayanagar kings also issued a number of coins: gold, silver, copper. Their gold coins are called Varaha. On your screen, you can see gold coins are called Varaha. They're also called Gadyana, Pun, Pagoda. So these are various names for their gold coins: Varaha, Gadyana, Pun, Pagoda. Right? So Varaha was their family god. They were Vishnu worshippers. So most common symbol on their coins is Varaha, boar incarnation of Vishnu. And we have other impressions also found on their coins like bull, elephant, lion, etc. And of course, we have Ganda Berunda. We have Hindu deities, Shiva, Vishnu, Lakshmi. And apart from that, Ganda Berunda. You can see what is Ganda Berunda symbol. Double-headed eagle. It's a mythical bird, double-headed eagle. And this double-headed eagle is holding an elephant in each of its beak and claws. You can see here, this is an elephant. Okay, it's holding an elephant in its beak and another elephant in its claw. Similarly here, you see. So two double-headed eagle holding an elephant in each of its beaks and claws. This is called Ganda Berunda. This symbol was uh, was adopted by the Vijayanagar kings, later by the Wadayars of Mysore, and later by the Karnataka government. The government of Karnataka also has adopted this symbol. Of course, minus the elephants. Without the elephants, they have adopted this symbol, Ganda Berunda. Yeah, got it, Kennedy. Clear. So these are the various impressions on their coins. Um, then we have other symbols. You can see Harihara and Bukka had Hanuman on their coins. Krishnadevaraya has Venkatesha and Balakrishna, on his coins. Achutaraya, Garuda, etc. So then we have Varaha. You can see on your screen, Varaha was their main gold coin. Parta was half a Varaha. Fanam was 1/10 of a Parta. So these are all gold coins. No, these are all gold coins. Okay, Varaha, Parta, and Fanam. Then we have Tar or Tara. This was a silver coin. Jital was a copper coin. So they use gold, silver, and copper coins. And gold coins in different denominations. Varaha, Parta, Fanam. Okay, so Varaha, Parta, Fanam. Then we have a number of temples which have survived even till date. At Hampe, we have these temples. Virupaksha temple. Virupaksha is a form of Shiva. Virupaksha is a form of Shiva. So we have Virupaksha temple, Hazara Rama temple, Vijaya Vithala temple, and also we have temples in many various parts of present-day Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Kanchipuram, Madurai, Tirupati, Tadipatri, Lepakshi. So these are all the surviving temples of Vijayanagar kings of various dynasties. Okay, so we have a huge source of information for the study of Vijayanagara: literary sources, archaeological sources, inscriptions, coins, and existing temples. Right. So, what is the reason for the growth of Vijayanagar Empire? Of course, we have growth of trade and commerce, agriculture and trade in the territories of Karnataka. So, agriculture expanded, trade expanded. The Chola Empire had already collapsed. So, Chola Empire had already collapsed, and you have chieftains had emerged outside the Cholamandalam area. Emergence of powerful chieftainships outside the Cholamandalam area. Then early Vijayanagara expanded initially at the cost of the Hoysalas and the Reddy kingdom of Kondavidu. So Vijayanagara kings conquered Hoysalas, conquered the Kadambas, and then also the Reddy kingdoms of Kondavidu. So it expanded at the cost of these neighboring kings like Hoysalas, Kadambas, Reddy kings of Kondavidu, and of course we have the Nayakas, the military chieftains, chiefs, Nayakas or Palegas. They also expanded the Vijayanagara kingdom. They were responsible for collecting tribute from the border areas and furnishing it to the central government. Double-headed eagle, so I told you, double-headed eagle, Ganda Berunda, was adopted later by the Wadayars of Mysore. They were they were feudatories under the Vijayanagara kings, the Wadayars, and later by the government of Karnataka government. Of course, the Karnataka government has made certain changes to this Ganda Berunda, minus the elephants. They have adopted this, minus the elephants. Okay, right. So let us look at the various dynasties. 4 dynasties ruled Vijayanagara: Sangama dynasty, Saluva dynasty, Tuluva, and Aravidu. So 4 dynasties ruled Vijayanagara. So here we have the Sangama dynasty. On your screen, Sangama dynasty. First dynasty was Sangama, then followed by Saluva, Tuluva, and Aravidu. So who are the important kings of the Sangama dynasty? You can see here on your screen, Harihara the first, Bukka the first, Devaraya the first, Devaraya the second. These are the most important rulers. Harihara the first, like for example, slave dynasty. We've done slave dynasty. Remember, Qutbuddin Aibak, Iltutmish, Razia, Balban, most important rulers of the slave dynasty. Similarly, Sangama dynasty, most important rulers are these: Harihara the first, Bukka the first, Harihara the second, Devaraya the first, and Devaraya the second. Okay, so let us deal with it. Factual information. So let us talk about it. I have given you the gist of Vijayanagara. Did you understand the gist? Once you understand the gist of it, it becomes very easy to understand this topic. And you should not be lost in the maze of information. A huge lot of information is there. I do agree with that. I do agree. But then I've told you the most important things, what you should remember. The whole story you know, and gist of it you know. Then when we deal with the factual aspects, then you will be focusing those things. And you make small points, small notes you make, and try to revise them. Okay, now we'll come back here. Sangama dynasty. So who was the first important king? First king, Harihara the first. So 2 brothers established this kingdom, Harihara and Bukka. And this kingdom was established on the banks of the Tungabhadra. You know this river Tungabhadra. And Tungabhadra itself is a tributary of the river Krishna. It's a tributary of the river Krishna. So it was established on the banks of the river Tungabhadra by these 2 brothers, Harihara and Bukka. So Harihara the first. So he annexed so I'll only deal with the important ones. Look here on your screen. So he the Hoysala kingdom was captured. Kadamba territories were annexed. So he conquered the Hoysala kingdom and the Kadambas of Banavasi. So Kadambas were the first local dynasty of Karnataka. They were the first to establish a kingdom here, the Kadambas of Banavasi. So according to Farnaunonis, he built the city of Vijayanagara at the instance of Vidyaranya. So Vidyaranya was the one who inspired him to build this city. He transferred his capital from Anegondi to Vijayanagara, then called Vidyanagara. So initially it was called Vidyanagara, as I told you. Ibn Battuta visited Vijayanagara. During his period, right? Then he organized the intel administration. How did he organize the intel administration? So 4 or 5 hamlets. So you have a village. So then you have 4 or 5 hamlets grouped into a village. So 4 or 5 hamlets became a village. So this was a hamlet. So 4 or 5 hamlets became a village. Then 20 or 30 villages became a sthala. 20 or 30 villages became a sthala under a Karanam or Sthala Karanam. So he appointed Brahmins to look after the administration of these units, Karanam or Sthala Karanam. And then the topmost was the Nadu. So a group of Sthalas will form a Nadu. Okay, under a Nadu Gauda or Nada Talayar. So you have conflict between the Vijayanagar kings and Bahamanis during his period over the Krishna Tungabhadra Doab. He was defeated by Alauddin Bahaman Shah. Alauddin Bahaman Shah of the Bahamanis defeated him. Defeated Harihara the first. So this is Harihara the first. Then we come to Bukka, his brother, younger brother, Bukka. So after Harihara died, Bukka became the king. He renamed this kingdom from Vidyanagara. He called it Vijayanagara. Right? Then he captured Mudkal. Understand this? He captured Mudkal in the Tungabhadra region. So obviously you have a retaliation. Bahamani Sultan, Muhammad Shah Bahamani, he crossed the Tungabhadra and he was able to defeat Bukka, but he could not capture the city or Bukka. He was not able to capture Bukka or the capital city. So this was the war in which gunpowder was used for the first time in this war, in the Battle of Mudkal. So first time artillery was used in India in this battle. Right? Whether both used it or only one used it, we don't know. But in this battle, it was used, presumably by both of them. So this is the first time artillery was used in India or gunpowder was used in India in this battle of Mudkal, 1367. So this was a UPSC question asked. 1367, first time gunpowder was used on the soil of India. Okay. And when was it used for the first time on the soil of North India? All of you know this already, I'm sure. In which battle gunpowder? 1526, first battle of Panipat. Very good. Dinesh says 1857. Dinesh, where did that come from? 1857. Okay. Dinesh, how did you get that date? That year 1857? First time gunpowder was used on the soil of North India in 1526 in the first battle of Panipat. Okay. Right. So here, Bukka had a son. Understand this. Bukka had a son named Battle of Mudkal. Name of battle, that is Battle of Mudkal. Mudkal. You can see this captured Mudkal. This is in this battle, gunpowder was used for the first time on the soil of India. Now we have the Madurai Sultanate, which was captured by the son of Bukka the first, Kumara Kampana. Kumara Kampana was the governor of Mulbagal. So there's a place called Mulbagal. If you near after Kolar, you get Mulbagal, right? So he was the governor of Mulbagal, this Kumara Kampana too. He was the son of Bukka, and he was the one who conquered Madurai Sultanate. And that was the end of the Madurai Sultanate. So we have this conquest of Madurai by Kumara Kampana, written by his wife, Ganga Devi. It is called Veera Kampana Raya Charita or Madura Vijayam or Veera Kampana Raya Charita. This was written by the wife of Kumara Kampana, Ganga Devi. Right? Then we have Sayana and Madhava. They wrote commentaries on the Vedas. So they wrote commentaries on the Vedas during this period, and therefore, Bukka took the title Veda Marga Pratisthapaka, Vaidika Marga Pravartaka, Vaidika Marga Pravartaka, Veda Marga Pratisthapaka, right? So these are the details, factual information. And he also sent an ambassador to China, and this has been recorded in the annals of the Ming dynasty. So it has been recorded in the records of the Ming dynasty. So Bukka sent an ambassador to China. All right. Then we come to Harihara II, first ruler to assume imperial titles. He was the first Vijayanagar king to assume imperial titles. Maharaja Raja, Raja Parameshwara. Maharaja Raja Parameshwara. So here what happened is, we have, understand this, under Harihara II, Vijayanagara was expanding towards the eastern seacoast. Vijayanagara was expanding rapidly towards the eastern seacoast, and that resulted in an alliance between the Bahamanis and the kingdom of Varangal. So there was the Reddy king. There was a kingdom of Varangal. No, so Bahamanis and Varangal came together to prevent this from happening. So Bahamani kingdom and Varangal came together to prevent Vijayanagara to further from expanding further towards the eastern seacoast. Okay, so this is one thing. Harihara the second. Then we go to next king, Devaraya the first. So we have during his period Firuz Shah Bahamani. He defeated Devaraya the first. So defeated him, and Devaraya had to give his daughter in marriage to him. Devaraya had to give his daughter in marriage to the Sultan Firuz Shah Bahamani, and also Bankapur in the Doab has dowry in the Krishna Tungabhadra basin. Bankapur in the Doab. But this did not stop the conflict between the Bahamanis and Vijayanagara. Now, what happened is this Devaraya allied with Varangal in order to partition the Reddy kingdom. If you go back to this PPT earlier, I told you Bahamanis and Varangal had joined in to come together to prevent Vijayanagara from expanding towards the eastern seacoast. But during the time of Devaraya, he entered into a treaty with Varangal, wherein they said, "Let us join together and partition the Reddy kingdom of Kondavidu." So there was a Reddy kingdom which ruled over Kondavidu. So Varangal left the side of Bahamanis. So it defected. It defected from the side of Bahamanis and joined Vijayanagara. So that strengthened Vijayanagara once Varangal left the Bahamani kingdom. And now Devaraya was able to defeat Firuz Shah Bahamani, and he annexed the territory up to the mouth of the river Krishna. Did you get me that? Yeah, Vijayanagar kings also, defeated Sri Lanka. They conquered a few parts of Sri Lanka also. Vijayanagar kings, Gaurav. No, Firuz Shah Bahamani Kennedy, Firuz Shah Bahamani. I'm using the word Bahamani. Firuz Shah Bahamani. So his name was Firuz Shah Bahamani, not Firuz Shah Tughlaq. Right. So Devaraya allied with Varangal in order to partition the Reddy kingdom. So Varangal defected from the side of Bahamanis, joined Vijayanagara, and that strengthened Vijayanagara. He was able to defeat his son-in-law Firuz Shah Bahamani. What is the greatest achievement of Devaraya the first? The construction of an aqueduct. So he constructed an aqueduct 24 kilometers long. What is an aqueduct? On your screen you can see this is an aqueduct. It is a canal running on top. You can see the pillars have been put here, and there's a canal running on top, something like a metro. Okay, metro on top. So on pillars. So here canals running on top. Okay, on pillars. So this is a Roman concept. Aqueduct was designed by the Romans. So this is a 24-kilometer aqueduct bringing water from the Tungabhadra river to the city of Hampe. Did you get me? So wonderful. Look, it's made of granite, solid granite. So this is the greatest achievement of Devaraya the first. He built an aqueduct which brought water from the Tungabhadra to the city of Hampe. Right? Then we have Niccolo Conte, the Italian traveler. Niccolo Conte visiting Vijayanagara during the time of Devaraya the first. He talks about Navaratri, Deepavali festivals. Right? Then we go to Devaraya the second, the greatest of the Sangama rulers. Greatest of the Sangama rulers, Devaraya the second. So he's called Prouda Devaraya, Immadi Devaraya. So in Kannada, please understand, don't get confused. Devaraya the second. Okay. In Kannada, if you use the word Immadi Devaraya, Immadi means second. Immadi means second. So don't get confused. Similarly, Mummudi means third. Nalvadi means fourth. Nalvadi means fourth. So don't worry about it. You don't get confused with this. So just remember just Devaraya the second or Immadi Devaraya. Did you get me that? Immadi means second. So you know this Cholas annexed Sri Lanka. Even Vijayanagar kings, they brought parts of Sri Lanka under tribute, forced Sri Lankan kings to give them tribute. So we have, they all did that. Yeah. So we'll come back here. Now, when Devaraya II was a Vijayanagar king, Ahmad Shah Bahamani invaded Vijayanagara. Ahmad Shah Bahamani of of the Bahamanis invaded Vijayanagara, and we don't know who won. We don't know who won. But then after this battle, the Bahamani Sultan Ahmad Shah Bahamani shifted the capital away from Vijayanagara. From Gulbarga, he shifted the capital to Bidar in 1424. So from that we come to know probably Devaraya II had defeated Ahmad Shah Bahamani because he had taken the key's capital far away from Vijayanagara. So it was Ahmad Shah Bahamani who shifted the capital from Gulbarga to Bidar, right? Then you see, Devaraya II noticed that the archery department of Vijayanagara was not very strong. Archers were not very good. So he employed 10,000 Muslim archers. He have employed 10,000 Muslim archers to give employed 10,000 Muslim archers to give practice in archery to the Vijayanagar soldiers. And he kept a copy of the Holy Quran next to his throne. So Muslim soldiers, they might find it difficult or uncomfortable to bow down before a Hindu king. So therefore, he kept a copy of the Holy Quran next to the throne so that at least they'll come and bow down before the Holy Quran. And they will not hesitate to bow down because Quran is equal to the word of God. And he also built a mosque in Vijayanagara, Devaraya II, right? So he built a mosque, kept a copy of the Holy Quran next to the throne, and he did all those things, right? Then Telugu poet Srinatha defeated the poet laureate Dindima in a debate. Therefore, he was given the title of Kavi Sarvabhauma. Court poet of Vijayanagara was Dindima, and Telugu poet Srinatha defeated him in a debate. And he was given the title of Kavi Sarvabhauma. Abdul Razak visited the court of Devaraya II. Abdul Razak came to his court. He was an envoy of Shah Rukh of Samarkand. And in his inscriptions, he's called Gajabetikara, the elephant hunter. He wrote many books. You can see Devaraya II, Ratna Deepika, Mahanataka Sudhanidhi, a commentary on the Brahma Sutras of Badarayana. So these are all the Sanskrit books written by Devaraya II. And in his inscriptions, he's called Gajabetikara. Gaja means elephant hunter, the elephant hunter. So Harihara the first, Bukka the first, Devaraya the first, Devaraya the second. These are the important rulers of the Sangama dynasty. Are they with me? These are the important rulers of the Sangama dynasty. Then we come to Mallikarjuna. Mallikarjuna was a small boy. He was young. And that is the time when the Gajapatis of Orissa and the Bahamanis took advantage. And they conquered a number of territories from Vijayanagara. Because the king was young, so Alauddin the second Bahamani, Kapileshwara Gajapati of Orissa, they conquered a number of territories from Vijayanagara. The last Sangama ruler was Prauda Devaraya, who was assassinated, who was killed by his feudatory, Salva Narasimha, the ruler of Chandragiri. So the ruler of Chandragiri, he usurped the throne. Chandragiri is a place near Tirupati. So a place near Tirupati in Andhra. So he killed him and established the Saluva dynasty. So Sangamas were succeeded by the Saluvas. Are you there with me, all of you? Factual information. So let us talk about the Saluva dynasty. The founder was Salva Narasimha. Okay, so founder was Salva Narasimha, and Saluva Narasimha is supposed to have helped Kumara Kampana in his conquest of Madurai Sultanate. You remember Bukka the first. Bukka, the first son was Kumara Kampana. Kumara Kampana, who conquered the Madurai Sultanate. And Kumara Kampana's wife, Ganga Devi, wrote Madura Vijayam or Veera Kampana Rai Charita. So when Kumara Kampana was busy in his Madurai campaign, conquering Madurai, he was assisted by one fellow called Saluva Narasimha. Saluva by a person called Narasimha. And Narasimha was given the title of Saluva. Saluva means falcon. Falcon. Falcon is a bird, like an eagle, you have a falcon. So he's supposed to have fallen on the enemies. He's supposed to have fallen on the enemies like a falcon. So he got the title of Saluva from Kumara Kampana. So that's where the term Saluva comes from. So the founder of the Saluva dynasty was Saluva Narasimha. He killed Praudadevaraya. He was the governor of Chandragiri near Tirupati in Andhra Pradesh. And he overthrew the Sangama dynasty. So this is called first usurpation. This is called first usurpation when Saluva Narasimha killed Praudadevaraya and snatched the throne and established the Saluva dynasty. But then, however, Saluva Narasimha was defeated by the king of Orissa, that is Purushottama Gajapati. So Purushottama Gajapati defeated Saluva Narasimha and imprisoned him. Now, what was the condition put by the Gajapati king, Purushottama Gajapati? You give me Udayagiri fort, and then I'll release you. Udayagiri fort near Nellore. Udayagiri is near Nellore district, in Nellore district of Andhra Pradesh. So Saluva Narasimha had to give away Udayagiri fort to Purushottama Gajapati. Only then he was released. So he lost the Udayagiri fort. The Saluva Narasimha patronized a few Telugu poets. So I put a chart for you. So look it on your screen. He patronized the following Telugu poets: Pillalamarri Pinaveerabhadra. Pillalamarri. So these are all Telugu words. So therefore, again I tell you divide the word into 2 or 3 parts. Non South Indian students. Pillalamarri Pinaveerabhadra. Pinaveerabhadra, right? So he wrote Jaimini Bharata, Shringara Shakuntala. These are the 2 books written by him. And he proudly quoted a poem called Vani Na Rani. Vani Na Rani. Then Talapakka Annamacharya. So many years back, about 20 years back, I'm sure you people might not have been born, many of you, or you might have been toddlers, many of you. There was a very famous movie in Telugu which came. That was called Annamaya. So here we have a Telugu superstar called Nagarjuna. So he was the hero in this movie, Nagarjuna. And right, Nagarjuna. I think he is a father of one hero. No. What I forget his name. Samantha's husband. Previous husband. I think she's still not remarried, but her ex-husband. So here, Annamacharya. So he played that part of Annamacharya. So he was a great Vagayakara. So Vagayakara is a poet singer in Telugu language. Chaitanya. Thank you, Jia. So Naga Chaitanya. Correct. Naga Chaitanya. Okay, good. So here, he was a renowned poet singer, Vagayakara, and he was a great devotee of Lord Venkateshwara of Tirupati, Tirumala. North Indians call Venkateshwara as Balaji. So there's a Balaji temple in Tirupati, Tirumala. So Tirumala is the one which is on the top. Tirupati is the down below the hill. But people mistake the top for the down. It's famously called Tirupati. It's actually Tirumala. On top is Tirumala. So he was a great devotee of Lord Vishnu or Venkateshwara, and he composed about 32,000 kirtanas, songs, poems in praise of Lord Venkateshwara. And he's called Sankirtanacharya Pada Kavita Pitamaha. So that's called Andhra Veda. These verses are called Andhra Veda. So he was patronized by him, this Talapakka Annamacharya. He wrote a book called Shringara Manjari. Then his wife, Annamacharya's wife, was this lady, Talapakka Timmakka. So she writes Subhadra Kalyanam, and she is the first Telugu poetess in Telugu. She is the first poetess in Telugu language, Talapakka Timmakka. It seems every is mantra chanting to me. I didn't get your Kennedy. What What are you telling, Kennedy? So, name of these people. See, these are factual information pertaining to Vijayanagara. So, Telugu language, they ruled over these areas, isn't it? The Vijayanagara kings on present day Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, parts of Tamil Nadu. So, obviously, books were written in Telugu, Kannada, and that may not be everybody's cup of tea to remember these things. So, therefore, you try to revise. Yeah. So, I told you, make cue cards. Okay. The challenge is to make cue cards. Make cue cards, right, and write it in small fonts, and then keep revising them, and then you'll remember. And when the question comes in the examination, it will flash your memory. It will flash to your memory, and you'll be able to mark. Okay. Now we'll come back here. So Talapakat Annamacharya, Talapakat Timmakka, then Mulla. So she was a Telugu poetess. Mulla. She wrote the Ramayana in Telugu language. Ramayana in Telugu, written by Mulla. Hello, are you there with me? All of you clear? Can you raise your hands? Can you raise your hands? Now look here. I'll tell you a story. How the Tuluva dynasty comes to power. Understand this. So Proudadevaraya was the last Sangama king. So he was the last Sangama ruler. He was the last Sangama, and he was killed by Saluva Narasimha, isn't it? So Saluva Narasimha, who was the governor of Chandragiri, killed him. So he killed Proudadevaraya and usurped the throne and established a Saluva dynasty. And this is called first usurpation. You know this. This is called first usurpation. What is usurpation? Snatching away the throne. When you snatch away the throne like this, that's called usurpation. Usurp the throne. So he killed Proudadevaraya, the Saluva Narasimha, and snatched away the throne. That's called first usurpation. And then what happened? Now look here. The Saluva Narasimha had two sons. Saluva Narasimha had two sons. What are the two sons? Timma and Immadi Narasimha. That is Narasimha the two. I'll use the word Narasimha the two or Immadi Narasimha. Immadi Narasimha. Or Narasimha the two. UPSC has asked questions from this area. That's why I'm taking a separate page and I'm writing this so that you can understand. So when you look at the questions at the end of this chapter, then you'll be able to understand why I made this. So listen up. So Saluva Narasimha had two sons, Timma and Immadi Narasimha, or Narasimha the two. Now, what happened is, Saluva Narasimha was on his deathbed. His children were small. Timma and Immadi Narasimha, or Narasimha the two, were small. They're still minors. And Saluva Narasimha had a minister. Okay? He had a minister. So, his name was Narasanayaka. Understand this. His name was Narasanayaka. His name was Narasanayaka. I'll write CM, Chief Minister of Saluva Narasimha. So he called Narasanayaka, his chief minister, and told Narasanayaka, Narasa, I'm going to die, and my children are very small. You take care of the kingdom. And when they come of age, you put them on the throne. You place them on the throne. So Narasanayaka promised his master, Saluva Narasimha, he will do that. Saluva Narasimha died. Once Saluva Narasimha died, this Narasanayaka placed Timma on the throne first. He put Timma on the throne. Later, he got Timma killed. So Timma was killed, assassinated, by Narasanayaka. He got him killed. Then he put his younger brother, Immadi Narasimha on the throne. But then this Narasanayaka shifted Immadi Narasimha far away to Penukonda. He shifted him to Penukonda, and he dominated the scene for some time. He began to rule for some time. He dominated everything. So power corrupts, as Lord Acton says, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Narsanayaka, he told his master that he will fulfill his wish. But what did he do? He put Timma on the throne, got him murdered. Then he put Narsimha the two on the throne, shifted him to far away Penukonda, and dominated the scene for some time. Right? Are you clear till here? All of you, are you clear till here? Clear. Now, raise your hands. Now look here. This Narasanayaka had 4 sons. Narasanayaka had 4 sons. What are the 4 sons of Narasanayaka? Veera Narasimha, Krishnadevaraya. I'll write KD Raya in short. KD Raya. In the exam, don't write KD Raya and all that. Write Krishnadevaraya fully. So Veera Narasimha, Krishnadevaraya, then Achyutaraya, and number 4, Rangaraya. So Narasanayaka had 4 sons. Veera Narasimha, Krishnadevaraya, Achyutaraya, and Rangaraya. Now, look here on your screen. When Immadi Narasimha was the Vijayanagar king, he's the de jure king, but he has no powers because Narasanayaka is running the show and Immadi Narasimha is far away in Penukonda. So when Immadi Narasimha was the Vijayanagar king, we have Vasco da Gama coming to India, 1498. Vasco da Gama came to India, landed at Calicut. This was a UPSC question. Who was the Vijayanagar king when Vasco da Gama came to India? The answer is Immadi Narasimha or Narasimha the True. Now look here, what happened? Narasanayaka died. After Narasanayaka died, this Veera Narasimha acted as the regent to Narasimha the True. So he acted as the regent. He acted as the regent to Narasimha the True. And later, he got Narasimha the True murdered. He got Narasimha the True killed and usurped the throne. He snatched the thrhrone and established the Tuluva dynasty. So Veera Narasimha established the Tuluva dynasty. This is called second usurpation. This is called second usurpation. Did you get me? First usurpation is what we see in this. You remember? First usurpation. Saluva Narasimha killed Praudadevaraya and established the Saluva dynasty. That's called first usurpation. Second usurpation is Veera Narasimha, the son of Narasanayaka, killed Narasimha the True and established the Tuluva dynasty. So he established the Tuluva dynasty. Clear? Hello? Clear? Okay. See, write and learn. Okay? Always write and learn. Don't just read and learn. Write and learn. It will stay in your mind. And you can concentrate for a longer time. Your mind will not go for a tour here and there when you're writing. Okay, because you have to write and get into UPSC. You can't just read and get into UPSC. You have to write and get into UPSC because so Saluva dynasty fell into yes, not much. Nikhil, Saluvas did not last for a long time. Right, now we'll come back here. Now, who was the Vijayanagar king now? Veera Narasimha. Veera Narasimha has snatched away the throne and established a Tuluva dynasty. As soon as Veera Narasimha died, understand this, as soon as Veera Narasimha died, what happened? Veera Narasimha had a minister. His name was Saluva Timma. His name was Saluva Timma. He was a very powerful minister. So what happened is, as soon as Veera Narasimha died, this Saluva Timma imprisoned Achyutaraya, Rangaraya, and the minor son of Veera Narasimha. The minor son of Veera Narasimha. And Sarvatimma declared Krishnadevaraya as the emperor. He put Krishnadevaraya on the throne. See, the brother of Veera Narasimha. So I repeat, as soon as Veera Narasimha died, Sarvatimma, the minister of Veera Narasimha, imprisoned the minor son of Veera Narasimha, including Veera Narasimha's brothers Achyutaraya and Rangaraya, step brothers, and he put Krishnadevaraya on the throne. And Krishnadevaraya came to power 1509 to 1529. He was a contemporary of Babur, Krishnadevaraya. Are you there with me? So I'll directly go here, come back here. On your screen, you see Salava Narasimha had two sons. On your screen, all of you. So Salava Narasimha, we have discussed this. He was the governor of Chandragiri. He overthrew the last Sangama ruler, Prauda Devaraya, and usurped the throne. That's called first usurpation. Then he had two sons, Salava Narasimha, Timma and Immani Narasimha. That is Narasimha the two. And on his deathbed, he appointed Narasa Nayaka as his regent. So, and placed his two sons under his care. So then Timma was made the king by Narasa. After some time, he was assassinated, and Immadi Narasimha was placed on the throne. But then Narasa Nayaka shifted him to Penukonda and dominated the scene for a decade. Right? Then Narasa Nayaka had four sons: Veera Narasimha, Krishnadevaraya, Rangaraya, and Achyutaraya. So after Narasa's death, his eldest son Veera Narasimha became the regent to Immadi Narasimha, killed him, and founded the Tuluva dynasty. The Tuluva dynasty founder was Veera Narasimha. Right? So once Veera Narasimha died, so on the death of Veera Narasimha, Sarvatimma, the chief minister of Veera Narasimha, placed Krishnadevaraya on the throne after imprisoning his two stepbrothers and Veera Narasimha's minor son. So Krishnadevaraya comes to power 1509 to 1529. Right? So just before Krishnadevaraya came to power, the Bahamani kingdom had split up into 5 kingdoms. Bahamani kingdom, which was one huge kingdom, one huge empire, broke up into 5 states: Bijapur, Golconda, Ahmednagar, Bidar, Birar. I have told you when I gave you the gist of it, gist of this topic, I had given you the information. And Krishnadevaraya fought with Bijapur over the Krishna Tungabhadra Doab. So Krishnadevaraya is considered to be the greatest of the Vijayanagar kings. He was a great warrior, and he brought most parts of South India under his control. He defeated all the kings of South India, including the Orissa king, the Gajapati dynasty, which ruled Orissa, Gulbarga, Bidar, Bijapur. All these rulers were defeated by him. So he has many titles: Yavanaraja Sthapanacharya, the restorer of the foreign kingdom; Tri Samudra Dishwara, the lord of the 3 oceans; Gajapati Saptanga Harana, the king who took away the 7 limbs of the Gajapati; Andhra Pitamaha, Kannada Ramaramana, Abhinava Boja. So these are the various titles bestowed upon him by these poets and scholars who were there in his court. So he was a great warrior, personally led the battlefield, personally led his armies in the battlefield. He had an army of 7 lakhs. He had an army of 7 lakhs, and I told you, Babur, praised his valor in the Tusuki Baburi. He says 7 kings were ruling India, 7 powerful rulers, but the most powerful and a man of justice was this man, Krishnadevaraya. So Babur, he was a contemporary of Babur. So we'll talk about the military achievements of Krishnadevaraya. He was a great builder. He built many temples. He patronized scholars, and he built, also he was a scholarly king. He was not only a great warrior, he wrote many books in Telugu language, in Sanskrit language, and supposedly the Ashtadiggajas were in his court. Supposedly, I said, because history doesn't support this information that 8 eminent luminaries, the Ashtadiggajas, Alasani Peddanna, Tenali Ramalinga, uh, Durjati, etc. All these scholars were not necessarily in his court, but then traditionally it is believed that they were all in his court, though history doesn't support this. We'll talk about it. So let us look at the military achievements of Krishnadevaraya. Battle of Doni or Diwani. So when he came to power, we have Mahmud Shah Bahamani of Bidar. So the capital had been shifted to Bidar by Ahmad Shah Bahamani from Gulbarga to Bidar. So Mahmud Shah Bahamani, the king of the Bahamanis, attacked Vijayanagara as soon as Krishnadevaraya became the ruler. So what did Krishnadevaraya do? He repulsed the attack. he was able to beat back the attack. Okay, this is number one. Number two, the Battle of Kovilkonda. In this Battle of Kovilkonda, he killed the Bijapur Sultan Yusuf Adil Shah and occupied the Raichur Doab. So the Raichur Doab, that is the Krishna Tungamabhadra Doab, was occupied by Krishnadevaraya and the fort also. Then he next marched to Gulbarga and occupied the Gulbarga fort. Then he captured Bidar. So what had happened in Bidar? So Bidar, the Sultan was Mahmud Shah Bahamani. Okay, Sultan was Mahmud Shah Bahamani, who had earlier attacked Vijayanagara. He had a minister called Amir Barid. This minister, Amir Barid, had imprisoned the Bahamani Sultan in the jail. Sultan Mahmud Shah Bahamani had been imprisoned by his own minister, Amir Barid. So Krishnadevaraya waged war against Amir Barid, defeated him, went to Bidar, released the emperor, Bahamani Emperor Mahmud Shah Bahamani from the prison and put him on the Bidar throne. He put him on the Bidar throne. For this particular act of reviving the Bahamani kingdom, it's called resuscitation, he has been given a title, Yavana Rajya Sthapanacharya. Yavana means foreigner. Yavana Rajya Sthapanacharya. That is restorer of the foreign kingdom. Did you understand? He's called the restorer of the foreign kingdom. So diplomacy, he could have killed the king and taken over the kingdom, but he did not do so. Probably because he would have made more enemies. So he gave it back to the kingdom, gave it back to its king, and that way he won over the Bahamani Sultan. Right. So restorer of the foreign kingdom. Then he put down the rebellion of Gangarai of Ummattur, the Palegar of Ummattur. Palegars are military commanders. Palegars, military commanders, or Nayakas they were called, military commanders. So he put down the rebellion of Gangaraya, the Palegar of Ummattur, captured Shivana Samudra, headquarters of Gangaraya, destroyed its fortifications. So he conquered all those areas and he established a new province with Srirangapatna as capital. So Srirangapatna became the capital of this newly established province, right? So this is another achievement of his. So remember these battles: Battle of Doni or Divani, Battle of Koilkonda. Then he restored the Bahamani Sultan back on the throne of Bidar. Then we have the Kalinga expedition. Kalinga is Orissa, as you all know. Orissa. Right now, when Mallikarjuna was the Sangama king, I told you Mallikarjuna was a small boy, isn't it? You can see. Come back here. I'll show you. See Mallikarjuna on your screen. Mallikarjuna. He was a young boy. So the Bahamanis and the Gajapatis had taken away a number of territories from Vijayanagara. So once Krishnadevaraya became the Vijayanagara king, he wanted to take it back from both the Bahamanis as well as the Orissa Gajapati king. So we divide his Kalinga campaign into 5 parts, 5 expeditions, 5 stages. So it was launched mainly to recover from Orissa all the territories that its kings had taken from Vijayanagara. So Orissa was ruled by the Gajapati dynasty. Gajapati. Kapilendra Gajapati was the greatest of their dynasty, but this time it was ruled by, after that you have Purushottama Gajapati, then of course, one more Gajapati, Prataparudra Gajapati. So here you have first stage, he conquers Udayagiri fort from Prataparudra Gajapati. You remember Salava Narasimha had been forced to give Udayagiri for his release from prison. So Krishnadevaraya reconquers Udayagiri fort from Prataparudra Gajapati. And then he goes to Tirupati, the temple of Tirupati on the hills, Balaji Tirumala temple, with his 2 queens, Tirumala Devi, Chinna Devi. And he makes generous donations to the Lord of the 7 hills. So this is a bronze statue of Krishnadevaraya on his screen with his 2 spouses, 2 queens, Tirumala Devi and Chinna Devi. So he goes there and he has made very generous donations to the temple. And on important occasions like Kalyanotsava, where the Lord is married, and on other occasions, these jewels are adorned on the idol of Lord Venkateshwara. And he also took a image of Balakrishna, which he brought from Puri, and installed it there. Right? Then this is the first stage. Then Second stage, he defeated the Reddy chieftains and conquered Kondavidu. So he defeated the Reddy chieftains, conquered Kondavidu. Third stage, he conquered Vijayawada, Beswada, and conquered Kondapalli. So Reddy chieftains, Kondavidu, Beswada or Vijayawada, Kondapalli. Then he conquered the whole of Telangana up to the river Krishna Godavari and set up a pillar of victory at Putnur Simhadri. This is the fourth stage. And in the fifth stage, he attacked Cuttack. He marched into Cuttack, the capital of the Gajapatis of Orissa. And Prataparudra Gajapati sued for peace. He said he wants peace. And he offered his daughter in marriage to Krishnadevaraya. Her name was Annapurna Devi or Mohanagi. So Krishnadevaraya was indeed magnanimous. He married Annapurna Devi and he gave away everything what he had conquered north of the Krishna back to the Gajapati king. For this particular feat of his, he has been given a title, Gajapati Saptanga Harana. Gajapati Saptanga Harana. So here I have given you this information. You can see Kautilya in his Arthashastra tells us that a king cannot rule by himself. He has to be assisted by others. So there are 7 limbs to a kingdom. A king alone cannot run the kingdom. He has to be assisted by few people. Like for example, you can see Swamin, king. Amatya, minister. Durga is a fort or fortress. Bala, army. Kosha, treasury. Janapada, land and its people. And Mitra, allies. So 7 organs of a state, 7 limbs of a state. So after defeating the Gajapati king and marrying his daughter, he gave away everything which he had conquered north of the river Krishna. Right? And Krishnadevaraya has been given the title Gajapati Saptanga Harana, the king who took away all the 7 limbs of the Gajapati. So that's the title bestowed upon him. Then, of course, he fought the sultans of Golconda and Bijapur. So when Krishnadevaraya was busy in his Orissa campaign, we have the king of Bijapur, Ismail Adil Shah, the son of Yusuf Adil Shah. Yusuf Adil Shah had been killed by Krishnadevaraya in the Battle of Kovilkonda. So his son Ismail Adil Shah conquered the Raichur though, taking advantage of the absence of Krishnadevaraya from Vijayanagara because he was busy fighting against Orissa. After defeating the Gajapati king, Krishnadevaraya comes back and he teaches a lesson to Ismail Adil Shah. So in the Battle of Raichur, Krishnadevaraya defeated Ismail Adil Shah of Bijapur. Right? So here, if you go to Bijapur, there is one cannon. It's called Malik-e Maidan. Malik-e Maidan. So as a history student and teacher, I keep traveling alone or with friends. So I keep travel. So extensively I travel either on my bike or by bus, whatever it is. So here, if you go to Bijapur, you have a cannon. It's called Malik-e Maidan. Those days, it was one of the it was a very powerful cannon, one of the most powerful cannons in Asia, and it used to create a huge amount of sound. It used to create a huge amount of sound. So it has been put on a pedestal. It doesn't have a foundation. That pedestal, huge foundation pedestal, and there's a well there. Okay, so it has been placed on that stone pedestal. So the person who is supposed to fire that cannon, he will light the cannon, and he'll jump into that well because it created so much of sound that the eardrums will blast. It used to create so much of sound. So that person has to close his ears like this and jump into the water when the cannon is going to be fired. So this cannon, when the war began against Bijapur, this cannon was being used against the Bijapur army, and a section of his army, Krishnadevaraya's army, began to retreat. Because this cannon was creating so much of havoc and sound that his soldiers began to retreat. So Krishnadevaraya, who saw this, is supposed to have rallied his forces. He rallied his forces and told them what would be the consequence of losing. The enemy will enter our territory and they will create a lot of loot, plunder, rapine. And it is better for me to die on the battlefield than see defeat. And alone, the Sultan, the king on his horse, rode towards the enemy. And looking at their king riding alone, the soldiers who were retreating, they turned back and came back. And they fought. And then they won. So, through his personal bravery, courage and gallantry, he brought victories to Vijayanagara. Krishnadevaraya is known to be a very brave soldier and a king. So this happened in the Battle of Raichur, where Krishnadevaraya defeated Ismail Adil Shah of Bijapur. He died in 1529. He died in 1529. Okay, so Kumara Saraswati, I mentioned it here. Go through it. Tamil poet Kumara Saraswati wrote a poem dealing with marriage of Krishnadevaraya with the Gajapati princess. Okay, Atish. Right. So now look here on your screen. On your screen, you see a map. Okay, this is the Straits of Hormuz, the Strait of Hormuz. Now, in the year 1509, understand this. In the year 1509, we have the greatest of the Portuguese, 1509, the greatest of the Portuguese governors, Alfonso da Albuquerque. Alfonso da Albuquerque. He sent an ambassador to Krishnadevaraya. The Portuguese wanted to enter into treaty with him. This was in 1509. Krishnadevaraya was not very sure about the intentions of the Portuguese. These are foreigners. Who sent them? What is their intention, etc. So he politely spoke to the ambassador and sent him away. But in 1510, what happened is the Portuguese conquered Goa from the Bijapur Sultan. Goa was conquered from Bijapur by the Portuguese. Goa was under the Adil Shah ruler of Bijapur. So in 1511, another ambassador was sent by Alfonso da Albuquerque. His name was Friar Louis. Friar Louis. And Friar Louis came to the court of Krishnadevaraya and he conveyed the message of Albuquerque that he wants to enter into treaty. The Portuguese want to enter into treaty with him. Now he was very sure of the intentions of the Portuguese because the Portuguese had defeated the Adil Shah ruler of Bijapur. So there was no alliance between the Portuguese and the Bijapur Sultan because the Portuguese had defeated the Bijapur Sultan and conquered Goa. So Krishnadevaraya, he respectfully received this ambassador and a treaty was signed. By this treaty, which was signed between Krishnadevaraya and the Portuguese governor, ambassador Friar Louis, on behalf of Albuquerque, every year, Portuguese were supposed to supply 10,000 war horses only to Vijayanagara. Arabian horses, 10,000 Arabian, fine breed Arabian horses. So you can see here on your screen, this is the Gulf of Hormuz. This area was under the control of the Portuguese. So they'll procure horses from from the Gulf, from Saudi Arabia, from Iran, fine breed, beautiful Arabian war horses, and they'll ship them across the Arabian Sea into India. And the Vijayanagara kings had Bhatkal as their port. Bhatkal in Karnataka. So near Mangalore, there's a port called Bhatkal. So all the horses were received at Bhatkal. This was a port reserved by the Vijayanagar king for receiving war horses. And the Portuguese had been warned not to sell these war horses to Bijapur. It should be sold only to Vijayanagara. So every year, 10,000 Arabian war horses were brought by the Portuguese and sold to Vijayanagara. And Krishnadevaraya gave them very generous money. Whatever money they demanded, it was given to the Portuguese. So Friar Louis resided in the court of Krishnadevaraya. Did you get me? This is the treaty he entered. 1511, he made a friendly treaty with Alfonso da Albuquerque. So all the details are there, go through it. So he was known as Abhinava Bhoja for his patronage through literature. Classical phase of Telugu literature was during his reign, therefore he's called Andhra Pitamaha. So Krishnadevaraya was a great scholar himself. He wrote a book on polity called Amukta Malyada in Telugu language. So this is in Telugu work on polity, and a Sanskrit drama in 5 acts called Jambavati Parinaya. Now, the Kannada Mahabharata had been left incomplete by Kumara Vyasa. So Kumara Vyasa had written the Kannada Mahabharata, but it was incomplete. So under the orders of Krishnadevaraya, poet Timmanna completed the Mahabharata, Kannada Mahabharata written in Kannada language. The Ashtadigajas, Ashta means 8 in Sanskrit, Ashta is 8. Diggaj is, luminaries, eminent people, Diggaj in Hindi or Sanskrit also. So Ashtadigajas were in his court, 8 eminent Telugu poets. However, there is no historical evidence as regards this. Considered to be, for example, I told you, Navaratnas were in the court of the Gupta king Chandragupta II at Ujjain. But then according to folklore, among the Navaratnas, Kalidasa was one of them. Kalidasa, Betarabhatta, Shenku, Gatakarpaka. We have seen that when we did Gupta period. But Kalidasa historically was in the court of Chandragupta II. But by folklore, according to tradition, he was in the court of the Paramaras of Malwa under Raja Bhoja. Right? So that is according to folklore. Similarly, here, according to folklore, these 8 luminaries, Ashtadiggajas, were in the court of Krishnadevaraya. But history doesn't support this. So I have given you the list here. You can see on your screen. Alasanni Peddanna. So these are all Telugu scholars. Telugu scholars, they wrote in Telugu language. Alasanni Peddanna. He wrote Manu Charitam, also called Swaroshisha Manu Sambhavamu. Swaroshisha Manu Sambhavamu. And Harikatha Saransamu. So it may be a nightmare to many of you, these words. I know that, I can understand that. But then UPSC has asked you questions in the mains also. So you should find out a way to remember this. Manu Charitam, divide it into sandhis, two or three parts. Already make a ready-made answer and keep it and revise it repeatedly. And then you can download it that in the examination. Okay, so Manu Charitam and Harikatha Saransamu. Harikatha Saransamu. So his Manu Charitam is known as the first Prabandha in Telugu literature. It was dedicated to Krishnadevaraya, Manu Charitam. And for this reason, Alasani Peddanna is called Andhra Kavita Pitamaha. Andhra Kavita Pitamaha. Andhra Kavita Pitamaha. See, Krishnadevaraya is called Andhra Pitamaha. On your screen, see this? On your screen, he is called Andhra Pitamaha because the classical phase of Telugu literature begins from his period. But who is called Andhra Kavita Pitamaha? It is Alasani Peddanna. Right? Keep that in mind. Then Nandi Timmanna, Parijata Paharanam. So he writes Parijata Paharanam, dedicated to Krishnadevaraya. Then Madaya Gari Mallanna, Rajashekara Charitam, Durjati Kalahasti Shataka or Karahastishvara Mahatyam, Pingali Surana, Kala Purnodayam, Raghava Pandaviyam, Prabhavati Pradyumna. So Pingali Surana dedicated his works to his patron Krishnamaraju, a vassal of Vijayanagara at Nandyal. So he was not in the court of Krishnadevaraya. He actually dedicated his works to Krishnamaraju, a vassal of Vijayanagara at Nandyal. Okay, so Kala Purnodayam, Raghava Pandavyam, Prabhavati Pradyumna. Then Tenali Ramakrishna. So a lot of TV serials have come in various languages, including Hindi, okay, Marathi, etc., about Tenali Ramakrishna and his intelligence, his smartness, etc. So Tenali Ramalinga, he wrote these books. Udbhatacharya Charitam. Udbhatacharya Charitam and Panduranga Mahatyam. So Panduranga Mahatyam is considered to be one of the Pancha Mahakavyas in Telugu. And he's called Vikata Kavi. Okay, and his Panduranga Mahatyam is dedicated to Venkatapati Raya the second, an Adaviru king. So when Krishnadevaraya was there was no Aravidu dynasty. Right? Aravidu dynasty happened only in 1565 after the Telikota War, 1570 onwards. So here, this Panduranga Mahatyam is dedicated by Tenali Ramakrishna to Venkatapati Raya II. So what does it show? It shows that he was not there in the court of Krishnadevaraya. Did you understand? Hello, all of you there. So history doesn't support this, that all these Ashtadiggajas were in his court. Some were there in his court, not everybody. But then, if there's a question asked, do mention. Okay, I'll use a bigger font. So this was just to divide the words here. Okay, so we'll come back here. So did you get me that? Hello, all of you. So do mention it in the mains in case there's a question that traditionally they were considered to be in the court of Krishnadevaraya, but history doesn't support this. Do make a mention of it. Nothing wrong in that. It is true. Then Ramaraja Bhushana. So he wrote Vasu Charitam, And this was dedicated to Tirumala Raya, an Aravidu king. Then Ayalaraju Ramabhadra, he wrote Sakala Niti Sara Sangraha Ramabhyudayam. So these are the Ashtadigajas in the court of Krishnadevaraya. And poet Pedanna was personally honored by him. Poet Pedanna. So here you have a palanquin, the palanquin in which Pedanna was made to sit. And one of the ends of the palanquin was held by the Emperor Krishnadevaraya himself. So this way he honored Pedanna personally. So personally honored Krishnadevaraya. Pedanna. Krishnadevaraya honored Pedanna by carrying him in a palanquin. So Pedanna was the one who gave Krishnadevaraya the title Kannada Rama Ramana, the king of the Kannadigas. So he founded Nagalapur in memory of his mother Nagamba. He established a number of Raya Gopurams called Raya Gopuram. So what's a Gopuram? You see here on your screen, a temple, a Dravida temple has a gateway. Okay, so this is the boundary wall. So this is the boundary wall. The main temple is here. Okay, and the main temple is here. There's a boundary wall. Okay, this is the boundary wall, and the entrance gateway is called Gopuram. So it was the Pandyas who introduced Gopurams. Pandyas were the ones who introduced Gopurams, and the Cholas, of course, also adopted Gopurams after that. Now, huge Gopurams were built by Krishnadevaraya. They are called Raya Gopurams. Raya Gopurams. And what the Vijayanagar kings did is, generally there's only one Gopuram in a temple. They added three more in the three directions. One here, one here, one here. Did you get me that? Hello. They are called Raya Gopurams. You can see here on your screen. This is the picture of a Raya Gopuram or entrance tower. Entrance tower. This was bigger than the Vimana of the temple. Raya Gopuram. Right? Then he constructed the Basava channel. Then he constructed the following temples at Hampi, Hampavati temple. The best, at one place, the shadow of the Gopuram falls inverted, I believe, Hampavati temple. 1,000-pillared Mantapa, Lotus Palace. So we see Indo-Persian style here. Then he expanded the Hazara Rama temple. There are 1,000 Ramayana paintings here. It's called Chapel Royal. That is the royal family used to pray here. It was not meant for the public. So you can see here, this is Lotus Mahal. Oh, this is in the Indo-Islamic style, Indo-Persian style, Indo-Islamic style. It is in the Sarvato Bhadra style. Sarvato Bhadra means it is, and you can enter this from all the sides. That is the meaning of Sarvato Bhadra. So Lotus Mahal or Kamal Mahal, also called Kamal Mahal. Kamal is lotus, as you know. Kamal Mahal. It is at Hampi. This is the Hazara Rama temple at Hampi. Hazar, is Lotus Mahal is in Hampi. Lotus Mahal or Kamal Mahal, as it is called. This Hazara Rama temple was built by Devaraya II. It was not built by Krishnadevaraya. It was built by Devaraya II. Krishnadevaraya, expanded this temple. And why is it called Hazara Rama? Because there are 1,000 Ramayana paintings in this. 1,000 Ramayana paintings are there. 1,000 Ramayana paintings are contained in this temple. Therefore called Hazara Rama temple. Are you there with me, all of you? Hello? Another 20 minutes. Just tolerate me. Another 20 minutes. Okay. Then we have the Vijaya Vithala temple. It has musical pillars. You can see here on your screen. This is the Vijaya Vithala temple. This was again built by Devaraya II. It was built by Devaraya II. And in the compound, in the complex of the Vijaya Vithala temple, there's a stone chariot that was ordered to be constructed by Krishnadevaraya. So there are 56 pillars here. On your screen, you can see there are 56 pillars here. Okay, small pillars. Each pillar is 3.6 meters high, and they're made of stone. And when you gently tap those pillars, they create sound. They make sound. One of the British officers broke one of the pillars. He wanted to see what is inside that, and he did not find anything. So one of the pillars is damaged because of that reason. So during the British time, that fellow did it. So this is made of stone, and they even now produce music. They're made of stone. So Vijaya Vithala temple has musical pillars. And a stone chariot, a monolithic chariot in stone, stands in its premises. You can see here, this is the monolithic chariot. Look here on your screen. Krishnadevaraya went to Orissa. He defeated the Gajapati king. So when he went to Orissa, he went to Konark, the Konark Sun temple in Orissa. and he was amazed by that beauty of the Konark Sun Temple. So that was the inspiration behind this stone chariot. He told his ministers he wants something like this in Hampe. So the inspiration behind this stone temple, this stone chariot, is the Konark Sun Temple. So Konark Sun Temple is dedicated to the sun god. This one is the stone chariot. So generally you have these Rathotsavas, Kar Seva it is called as it is in Hindi. So you have the idol of the god and the goddess. They're placed in wooden chariots and people pull that. Like for example, we have the Rath Yatra, the Puri Jagannath Rath Yatra is there. So the god and the goddess is brought out from the temple, and they are taken on a procession in the streets, so that even the common people, the lower caste, can also view the god, and God will also feel good that they are coming out of the temple for a ride in the streets. So this is a stone chariot in the courtyard of the Vijaya Vittala temple, right? So the inspiration behind this is the Konark Sun Temple. So then he built the Vijaya Mahal, a throne platform, added a Kalyana Mandapa to the Virupaksha temple and the Lakshmi Narasimha sculpture. It is 6.7 meters in height. This was again ordered to be constructed on the orders of Krishna Devaraya. So you can see here on your screen, this is the Virupaksha temple at Hampe. So he added a Kalyana Mandapa to this temple. He did not build this temple. It was built by Lakkan Dandesha. You see here, I have collected these photos from various magazines, online, magazines, newspapers. Whenever it comes, I collect it and then I put it here in the relevant sections. So it adds to the value of the PPT, it makes the class interesting. And also, I suppose, you will feel good to know how it looks like. Because it's difficult to go to all these places in a short span of time when you have holidays. When you go on Bharat Darshan tour, when you clear the UPSC exam, they'll take you on a Bharat Darshan tour. So on government cost, you can visit all these places and see and enjoy how rich our country is. So I hope and pray all of you clear and you go on government cost on a tour of India. So yeah, so Virupaksha is a form of Shiva. This temple was built by Lakkan Dandesha. Okay, the temple was again built by Devaraya II, Nayakandar King Devaraya II. So Kalyana Mandapa was added to this temple. Then these are the elephant stables at Hampe. These are the elephant stables. This is the Lakshmi Narasimha statue at Hampi, also called Ugra Narasimha Swami, 6.7 meters in height. Okay, she's sitting on a Sheshana. You can see this is snake. So snake is here also, right? So this is about Krishna Devaraya. Clear? This is about Krishna Devaraya. Then we come to Achyutaraya. So one of his step brothers, half brother of Krishna Devaraya. Remember, so Narasanayaka had 4 sons: Veera Narasimha, Krishna Devaraya, Achyutaraya, Rangaraya. So once Krishna Devaraya died, he had no sons. His half brother, that is Achyutaraya, became the ruler. So that is a time when we have the so you have Ismail Adil Shah. He captured Raichur Doab and destroyed Nagalapur. Ismail Adil Shah. So Ismail Adil Shah, he captured Raichur Doab and destroyed Nagalapuram. His wife Tirumalamba wrote Varadambika Parinayam. And Ramaraya of the Aravidu family, he forced him into administration. He told Achyutaraya to take him into administration. He was the son-in-law of Krishnadevaraya. Son-in-law of Krishnadevaraya. Right? Son-in-law of Krishnadevaraya. Then after Achyutaraya's death, we have Ramaraya, who proclaimed Sadashivaraya as king. Sadashivaraya was proclaimed as emperor, right? And Sadashiva was the last ruler of the Tuluva dynasty. And the real power was in the hands of Ramaraya and his 2 brothers, Tirumala and Venkatadri. And I told you, Ramaraya, he was the fellow responsible for the destruction of Vijayanagara. He used to play one Bahamani Sultan against another. So he was called popularly Aliya Ramaraya. He was a son-in-law of Ramaraya. He had married Tirumalamba. And he began his career in the Qutub Shah, in the Golconda Sultan's kingdom. He was a trusted officer of Kuli Qutub Shah of Golconda. So once he became the son-in-law of Krishnadevaraya, he began to play one Bahamani Sultan against another. So all these sultans came together. Out of the 5, 4 came together. Ibrahim Qutub Shah of Golconda formed a grand alliance, and all these people participated. Ahmednagar Sultan Hussain Nizam Shah, the Bijapur Sultan Ali Adil Shah, the Golconda Sultan Ibrahim Qutub Shah, and the Bidar Sultan Ali Barid. So Burhan is Imad Shah was uninvited. So Birar never participated in this war. So four sultans with their armies combinedly attacked Vijayanagara. So this is the famous Battle of Talikota. So this was only a place where all the armies gathered. This was a gathering point for the Sultanate armies. The actual battle took place 50 kilometers away between two villages, Rakkasagi and Tangadagi. You can see here on your screen, Rakkasagi and Tangadagi, also called Banni Hatti. This was on January 23rd, 1565, the famous Battle of Talikota. And this is supposedly the plains along the Krishna River, close to the villages of Rakkasagi and Tangadagi. This is supposed to be the place where the Battle of Talikota is supposed to have taken place. So in this battle, what happened? Ramaraya was beheaded by Hussain Nizam Shah of Ahmednagar. Sadashivaraya ran away to Penukonda with whatever wealth he could carry, along with the brothers of Tirumala, along with the brothers of Ramaraya, Tirumala and Venkatadari. So he died in 1570. Tirumala seized the throne and established the Aravidu dynasty. However, the glory of Vijayanagara was only till 1565. Okay, so I have given you a description here according to one of the contemporary historians, Muhammad Qasim Ferishta. You can see here, he talks about this war, and also Muhammad Qasim Ferishta. So he gives us the details of this particular war, right? The two clouds from opposite sides thundered. So I've given you all this. Go through it if you're interested. So here, Robert Sewell puts it beautifully in his Forgotten Empire. So he says, never perhaps in the history of the world has such havoc been wrought, and wrought so suddenly on so splendid a city, teeming with wealthy and industrious population in the full plenitude of prosperity on one day, and on the next siege, pillage, and ruined amid scenes of savage horrors begging description. So what does he say? He says one day it was flourishing. What a beautiful city it was. It was flourishing. And on the next day it was sieged, pillaged, and ruined amid scenes of savage horrors begging descriptions. I cannot explain the type of atrocities committed on the people of Vijayanagara. So that's what Robert Sewell says. You can see here on your screen in his in the Forgotten Empire, with fire and sword, with crowbars and axes, they carried on day after day their work of destruction. Never perhaps in the history of the world has such havoc been wrought, and wrought so suddenly on so splendid a city teeming with wealthy and industrious population in the full plenitude of prosperity on one day, and on the next siege, pillage, and reduced to ruins amid scenes of savage massacre and horrors begging description, according to Robert Sewell. So again, he says in another sentence, the Deccan Sultans were thus completely victorious. The Hindu army fled towards the capital. So great was the confusion that there was no attempt to give battle. The rout was complete, he says. So four sultans with their armies attacked Vijayanagara. Vijayanagara was defeated. And Robert Sewell, understand this, Robert Sewell in that book, The Forgotten Empire, tells us that these are that Vijayanagara was destroyed by these Bahmani armies, the Muslim rulers. They attacked, looted, plundered, etc., and they razed the city of Victory to its ground. Now, very interesting, isn't it? Now, look here. Modern historians have, they have done research and they have questioned whatever Robert Sewell has written in that book, The Forgotten Empire. Is it true? Is it true that the Bahmani armies, who were Muslims, engaged in whole-scale destruction of Vijayanagara? Is it true? And if you look at these photos I have just now put here, look at these temples here. See, Ugra Narasimha statue is intact. Okay, this one. Look at this, elephant stables. They are intact. This Virupaksha temple at Hampe is intact. The Ratha, the stone Ratha at Hampe is intact. No damage. The Vijaya Vithala temple is intact. Okay, the Hazara Rama temple is intact. The Lotus Mahal is intact. And there are many other temples which are intact. So the question is, why does Robert Sewell claim whatever he claims to be in those words? It looks beautiful to read that the Bahmani sultans gave a license to their soldiers they said whatever you touch is yours except elephants, and they took hammers, pickaxes, you know, sickles, and they raised the city of victory to its ground. And they destroyed all those cities. Those temples were broken up. They would have definitely plundered. I will not deny. We will not deny that they would have plundered. They would have looted. They would have engaged in molestation, etc., etc. Which have been done by other rulers also earlier, like Pallava Chalukya conflict we spoke about. They would have done the same thing. But then to say that the Bahamanis, the Muslim armies, were the ones who destroyed the temples of Vijayanagara would be wrong according to latest research. Because you know why? What we notice is that most of the temples which have been destroyed are Shiva temples. Shiva temples have been destroyed, okay, whereas the Vishnu temples, the Vaishnava temples, are intact in Hampe and the surrounding areas. If it was the Muslims if the Muslim armies were responsible for this vandalization, why would they have to differentiate between Shiva temples and Vishnu temples? For them, everything is the same. They would have destroyed both Shiva and Vishnu temples. Therefore, obviously, the explanation here is Shiva temples have been destroyed, Vishnu temples have been spared. The reason is it was the Vaishnavites who have destroyed the Shaivite temples. It was not the Muslim armies. This according to latest research. So you might wonder, why does Robert Sewell write like this? Obviously, because this is a European construct. It is a British construct. 1857 Sepoy mutiny took place, right? Hindus and Muslims fought together against the British, and it shook the British Empire here in India. 1870 onwards. So then, after that, the Parliament took over. The British Parliament took over the administration of India, and 1870 onwards, the British, as a policy, followed a policy of divide and rule. Divide and rule. Let us keep these Hindus and Muslims separate. Let us make them fight against each other, and let us prolong our rule over this country. They did not want Hindus and Muslims to come together, and this is the result here. Robert Sewell's explanation tallies that particular policy followed by the British. So be very careful when you read history. When interpretation is important, according to research, modern research, historical research, it shows there. It is there right in front of our eyes. Shiva temples have been destroyed. Vishnu temples are existing. Some of the Shiva temples are even there, but mostly they are destroyed, obviously by the Vaishnavites. So this is a British construct, and the end result was the partition of India in 1947. This country got divided into India and Pakistan. What they did in 1870 onwards as a policy, official policy, resulted in the partition of this country. Okay, so this is about Vijayanagara. Are you there with me? Did you get me that? So interpretation is very important. We should not be very, as bureaucrats, you're going to be officers, many of you at different levels. I hope and pray all of you. So you should be very careful regarding interpretation of history and what uh, historians have told us. It could be European or anybody else, right? So there's a saying, isn't it? I somewhere read it recently. Religion is considered to be true by the common man, has false by the wise, and has useful by politicians. Right? Very nicely put. Religion is considered to be um, true by the common man, has false by the wise, and has useful by politicians. So here the British have, they were the rulers here, they were politicians, and they have used religion to keep us divided. So I think I have run out of time. I will I'll continue this topic next class. Aurobindo dynasty, we'll do that. I've run out of the stream. We'll stop here. I'll continue from Aurobindo dynasty next weekend. We'll finish Vijayanagara. No, I've finished Vijayanagara almost. So let us finish Vijayanagara. Just hold on. Yeah, there are some more things to discuss. I'll stop here. I've run out of time and patience. We will do it in the next weekend. Okay, so I'll finish this chapter and we'll start with culture, art and culture. Yeah, all of you. So you have a great weekend. Weekend is over. I'm sorry. You have a great week, coming week, and we'll meet on Saturday next weekend. Okay. So God bless. Take care. Good night and study hard. All the best. Thank you. Good night. Thanks for your patience. Good night. Yeah, please do revise. Please do revise. I'm logging out. Thank you.